So we'll give it like a minute or two just.
And you're on like a 30-second delay too, right, or something like that.
Probably.
Yeah.
Something.
So if I
like
say
that.
something too bad, you can just kill it.
Well, we're gonna have to bleep you out.
All
Alright, looks like we might be online now.
Yeah, an ad just came up, so yeah.
Cool. There you go.
Yep. Looks like it's fired up.
Sweet. I'm just trying to, get this chat.
Let me just open this up. There we go. Awesome. 5 million viewers already. That's amazing.
Damn.
Wow, we must be so popular.
I should have worn something nicer.
The mic is amazing.
I wore this just for the DDD crew. The Adidas.
Oh, nice.
That's what you call it, right? Adidas.
What do you got? Adidas?
Adidas. That's how Americans always say it. Adidas.
I guess it's an American company as well, so.
Is it?
It's German.
Is it German?
Say, they got
the guy that owns it's called Eddie Dazzler.
Yeah.
Oh, no way. I apologize, Germany.
And his brother is the guy who owns either
apologize.
Puma or Nike or something like that. They're like brothers. Like
no way.
Something like that. Yeah.
No, that's actually a really messed up story. So they actually they were like all in the same kind of family, same company, and then like one of the brothers had a fight. Well, they had a fight basically, and one split off and started Puma. The other carried on with Adidas, and basically half the town works with one company, the other half of the town works with the other, and they're like super
like Berlin Wall
about
style
the brands. Yeah, like they're like crazy, like competitive, you know, like half the town's like either on like one team or the other.
All right.
Anyway, hey, we've got a few people starting to join us, so let's hello everybody, welcome to the show. Another episode of Dre's Daze. We've got two very special guests today. Welcome to the show, guys. Thanks for joining us.
For sure.
Nice, man. Thank you for having
me. We've got Taiko and Rez. Taiko, where are you locked in from, bro?
Sheffield at the minute.
Wow.
So yeah, kind of close to Manchester, basically like right in the center of England. So
nice.
Yeah, it's good.
Love it up there.
Yeah.
What about you, Rez? Where are you?
St. Louis.
St. Louis.
Yeah.
Okay.
Represent.
So that's in France, is it?
Yeah. No, it's US.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Just making
Come on, you've been here.
Well, you look kind of French, so you know.
You
said St. Louis, so I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, my last name Clark is French apparently, so you're spot on.
There you go.
Yeah. Nice.
Wicked. So welcome to the show, dudes.
Yeah.
And everybody that's joined us.
This was spontaneous.
Yeah, it was spontaneous. Yeah. Did you find out last night too? It was a quick.
Yeah, well, we and Dre were talking yesterday, and he was like, "Dude, we should have you on." And
yeah.
Like, are you free Tuesdays? I was like, "Yeah, every Tuesday."
Yeah.
And was like, well, how about tomorrow? I was like, "All right, let's do it."
Yeah, I like to do it like, you know, just so you guys don't have too much planning time, so like I can throw you off a bit, you know. When we get into the hard talk stuff, like, you know, so you haven't got any planned answers or anything, you know.
Yeah.
So
it's a good. Yeah, no, it's definitely like a good tactic, man. Like you say, like, because you're not like reeling it over in your head and thinking like, oh, what are they gonna ask me? And like, oh, maybe I would say this and like
totally.
It's cool, man.
I was lurking a little bit before, and you guys got into some crazy topics.
Oh yeah. Oh well, geez, mate. We love getting crazy into the topics. There's a lot of people. I don't know what it is about our DDD fan base, but they just seem to be all about weird topics, and they want to talk about all these strange things. And I don't know. I'm not into that kind of stuff.
Octopus. Your octopus is Illuminati with the triangle, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's actually the opposite of the Illuminati because it's the upside down triangle. Jeez, man, get it right.
Sorry.
You know the Illuminati, how like it's like the power is at the top, like the little and then like the people are at the bottom. The whole idea behind that is the people are hold the power. You know?
So there like, that really is like the significance behind it.
Yeah, I designed it.
I never knew that. That's
But it's funny how many people actually are like, "Whoa, that shit's so like Illuminati." Like we've actually had like people like message us seriously. Like I thought it was a joke, but they're actually serious, saying, "I was a fan for years. I bought your music, I bought your merch, and now I'm going to burn it because I've realized that you guys are the Illuminati, and I can see it in the symbolism." It's like you never noticed that from the start. Like,
yeah.
We're not. It's like, okay, cool.
Mine was a joke.
Yeah, I know.
Illuminati, Naughty, Illuminati.
Yeah, Illuminati. Well, we are very naughty.
Yeah.
So I guess that works.
Yeah.
What are you sipping on over there?
It's Anchor Steam beer, man.
Ooh.
San Fran Special. Oh, you can't see it. Oh, there we go, everyone.
Oh, nice. Is that like an IPA or something?
So it doesn't actually say, man. It's just Anchor Steam beer.
I'm not a huge like beer guy.
Malty sort of, like ale kind of thing. It's good.
Nice. I've seen that one round, like in supermarkets out here. Looks good. I'm not a huge beer guy. I drink I like drinking the like when I go to like place like in Europe, like Amsterdam and like Prague, like I love like the beer out there, like the beer, like the kind of I don't know, Hefeweizens, or like, you know, the kind of more golden beers that you put like a bit of like a, you know, like a fancy Hochgarten or something, you know, with the orange on the top. I like those kind of beers, but like I struggle with all the real strong IPAs and shit.
Me too. It's like is it the IBU count, or is it like Imperial Bitterness units or something? I'm probably wrong about that, but like,
is that what that is?
Yeah, it's like a bitterness rating, I think, and like strong. Feel free to correct me in the chat room, guys, if I'm talking absolute rubbish. But like, like high IBUs, I'm not a fan of, so I was trying to look for a low.
I didn't never know what that meant.
Like,
I heard that about.
Yeah, it's like you'll get less of that like bitter tang sort of thing.
Yeah, IPAs are real hard to distinguish, man. I can't tell like that big of a difference unless it's like one of those like 420 Sweetwater. Like that's obviously like a novelty, weird taste. But like most IPAs, they might as well all be the same to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but you love your beer, don't you, Rez? Like I've seen you in the green room sitting there enjoying a good beer a few times.
I drop a beer into like a freaking whatever they call it. I get wild back there, but
I feel like you and Phil from Distinct Motive are like
I was just gonna say the same thing.
Like our two kind of like American like top like beer drinkers in the team. Like
I can throw them back, dude. I can put them down.
You can put them down for sure.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
I think maybe me and Phil need to have a like Beer Fest, the movie. We need to have
We should just get you guys doing like a back to back, but you both like between every mix, you've got
whoever
like,
passes out first. Yeah.
Do you think like have you been drinking like more since like lockdown and all stuff like that? Like Rez, or like or,
not really, man. Actually, I would say less, to be honest. Like every year since I was like 20, I've so my life it like really peaked at like 22, 23. It was like really, really bad. Like I was kind of an alcoholic, I'm not gonna lie, and like then it just like kind of been tapering down and like sloping off greater and greater every year. So I'm trying to just get better with it. I don't want to drink as much as I do. It's kind of one of my real bad habits, but I don't have that many bad habits, so it's kind of like my one bad habit.
That's your kind of thing. That's like your naughty thing.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's like it was, you know, very much like I never was the type of guy to wake up and like drink or nothing like that. Like even if I was deathly hungover and I just wanted a hair of the dog, I like won't do it because I don't like to drink before like a certain like time of the day, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's been getting like less and less, I would say, and this quarantine didn't really affect it much, I would say. I'm just kind of trying to keep it easy. Like a couple days out of the week, I'll get a little wild or something with my buddies or something, but you know, try to keep it to a dull roar. But the shows are bad. The shows trigger me, dude. You know?
Me too, man. Yeah.
The shows, I can't help but get wild. It's fun.
Yeah. I've had to like ban myself from drinking like spirits from like I won't like name the place. Like if the promoter ends up listening to this, he'll know who it is. But I ended up like, it was just one of those bad like nights, like rookie errors, like throughout the whole day, like barely eating and then getting there and then like trying to smash drinks with everyone. And then they like brought out everyone like a bottle of rum each, and it was like, oh, my cup's empty. I'll just and then I've
been there, man.
Man, have you guys like ever had any like kind of like experiences where you're like meant to DJ and you like just got too drunk?
Yeah. I made the mistake early on though, and I was so embarrassed the next day. I was just because people had actually like pay money to buy a ticket to come watch, and it was kind of an embarrassment the next day. I was like, as soon as I was done playing, I got off the stage, and it was in Miami, and the American Grime guys were there, and they were actually like emceeing on my set, and it was like the dopest thing. But like as soon as I got done DJing, I walked away, and I was like I physically can't come up with a single song that I just played. Like I couldn't tell you one song I just dropped. Like I just couldn't even tell you.
You probably fucking crushed it, dude.
Mate. Well, the thing is, it's like it's kind of dangerous because I am like sort of functioning in that way, but like it was just embarrassing that I couldn't even remember. And then of course we went out to bars later and drank more, and it just got really ugly after that. Nothing too bad, but just I made that mistake to where I was like, man, and I did it once at Tsunami where I got way too drunk before, because the set was at like 3 a.m. or something. So by that time I just had been sitting around all that time with pals, and just by the time I actually got up there, it was it was kind of maybe a little sloppy, maybe. And I got embarrassed of that one too. But those were both like probably 3 years ago at least, maybe 4. And probably 4 more like. But no, I try not to do that at all anymore. I have like probably like 3 drinks before I do my thing. And then after that is when I get nuts. But
I think that's the best way to do it now, man. It's like no matter what time you set, even if you're doing like the last set, it's just like really pace yourself and just make sure you're like straight for that set, and then after, like you say, you can just go crazy. But,
this is actually vodka, everybody. No, I'm just kidding. But
I've had those similar situations, man. Like, but I guess sometimes, like you were saying, Dre, like sometimes you've been absolutely fucked, but you kind of like know that you played a really good set in the end, and like, and now and again, if it ends up being recorded, it's like, oh, that was awesome, because like sometimes it gives you that like edge sometimes to like really go for those mixes where like maybe like 70% sure it's like in time, and you're just like, I'm gonna just fucking do it, and then like some of those sets it just works. But
it makes me a little less judgmental of what I'm doing or just did, so like it makes it a lot more fun, and then I'm willing to take more like risks and just be like a little bit more reckless with it. And a lot of times it does pay off like that, where it does this isn't an alcohol endorsement or anything, by the way.
Like, and like you were saying, but like you can't rely on that. And I think a lot more recently I've tried to like I say recently, the past few years, like really try and be sensible about it. And like people are paying money to like listen to good music and stuff, they like, I'd be pretty like kind of pissed off if I paid to go to a venue and then there's just some DJs just trashed on the decks, like clanging every mix. And I'm just like, what is this, like, so.
I've seen that with rock bands a lot.
Yeah.
I've seen it with a lot of acts, to be honest, man, where you go and pay money and they're just trashed on stage. You're like, fuck. There's a very fine balance, like, between, like, getting nicely kind of toasted where you're, like, a bit loose, you're forgetting about the stresses of the day. You're on a nice buzz where you're like, hey, I'm feeling confident, I'm feeling good, I'm going to bust out these fucking, special mixes or whatever, some mix that I wouldn't try usually, or like, something that makes you feel good and connected to the crowd after, like, for me personally, I used to, like, I don't drink anymore just because, like, it doesn't really agree with my body. I'm more of a, like, I love marijuana, I love weed, so, like, I just do that now. But, like, for years and years, right up until recently, like, I always had, like, a bottle of, like, Grey Goose on my rider everywhere I went. As soon as I'd land in the city after, like, a long day of, like, because flying around in America is fucking stressful. Like, I was doing, like, 100 flights a year kind of thing, like, airports, delays, all that shit. You land, and you're like, I just need something to break my kind of like stress level right now.
Well,
the
and
tension,
it's boring.
Yeah. And like you get there and you have like a little bit of vodka and you're like, oh yeah, cool. That kind of got rid of it. And a little smoke.
Yeah.
And then it's nice. But man, I've like, for example, my one kind of embarrassing experience, like I've been really fucking good touring the States. Like I like smoking weed and all that, but like we used to get pretty fucked up, me and Tristan, like back in the day. Like we got really fucked up, like in Christchurch, in our hometown in New Zealand. Like it was just the culture. Like, you know, we would like just be drinking bottles on stage and just kind of like partying like animals and all that. And like never like doing bad, like kind of like performance or like, but just kind of like stuff that I would never do now. You know, like I'd never stand on the stage now with a bottle of vodka and just be like sculling it between every mix and being like I used to, you know, like now I'm like, oh geez, I'd never.
Maybe on a very, very special occasion I would, but other than that, probably.
Maybe it was like your birthday or something, you know?
Yeah. I just feel like, you know, if people are paying money, you want to put on a really good show and like, you know, it's cool to get loose and have fun and get on the vibe of the crowd and everything, but you still kind of need to have a bit of composure, you know.
For sure.
Yeah.
Or like a professionalism, I guess, or something. But I don't know. Not to take it too seriously, but yeah, like anyway.
Yeah.
But no, I have been probably just like keeping my head down this quarantine, and like I would say it's gone down like steadily still. Keeping it going. Yeah, I haven't got like super in a hole or nothing where I just started like drinking all day every day because I could or something, you know. I still work and everything, so I just keep it locked down. Someone said drink water slaps, and I have to probably agree with that.
Well, honestly, like I have trouble just drinking like, you know, the normal just tap water. I know that sounds fucking snobby, but like I'm just like, even as a kid, like my mum used to always be like, drink more water, and I'd be like, I want juice, I want fucking something else.
Exactly the same, man.
And like then I started like drinking like, you know, some nicer like sparkling waters in a nice glass bottle, and it just made me feel like I was drinking something, you know, fizzy and a bit more kind of more interesting than just water. And now I'm obsessed, like for the last 5 years, I guess, I've just like, I got always sparkling waters and I'm just drinking those all day, you know, like, and that like, that's improved my health, man. Like just drinking water. Yeah.
Man.
But that's what's on my rider now too. Like I just got like sparkling waters and fruit and all that and weed, of course. But
have you tried those like seltzers? Those like seltzer waters, those like hard seltzer things.
Oh yeah.
Do you think you might like those? Like, yeah, man.
Yeah. Oh, they're huge out here. Like in the States, people fucking love those, man.
Yeah. Those have been. I've had my share of those for sure.
If I was in my 20s, I'd be slamming those for sure. But like, I'm just like, like that's like I can see how people like those. They're good. Because I actually used to mix my Grey Goose with Perrier or just like some sparkling water anyway. You know, with a bit of lime or something. So
sure.
You know, I think that's a very good drink. Vodka and water. If I became a professional at getting the fucking level, like the balance between like water and vodka, right? You know, like, and if you just like drink that, your like hangover is pretty minimal and you can still get quite drunk.
Yeah, you're getting that hydration, no sugar either.
You got to drink a lot of water kind of in between. And not the key is like the sugar is what fucks you up and gets you dehydrated.
Yeah.
Anyway, hey, let's shout out to a few people. There's a lot of good cats tuned in.
Boyd Grimes, what's up?
What up? Big up Substance tuned in.
There we go.
Kyle Russell 222. We've got Silver Fox in the house. Postulus in the house. Not Today Satan 222. Jesus, that's a sick name. I like that. Ashes 33 and a third saying smoke weed every day. Hell yeah, that's I'm about to light this bad boy out right now. It looks like old Taiko's already out in the Bahamas, man. Yeah. Lit.
Now,
hey, if you guys got any,
I've just got it now.
If you guys got any questions out there in the chat room, feel free to fire them through. Or any just kind of what?
Kyle
like
Russell
topics.
says, Taiko, are you a joint or blunt smoker? Wait, they're like the same thing, right? What?
Okay, so look. I don't know where she's
you gonna
from,
get
but
schooled.
like I'm guessing she's in the States, and in the States, like blunts, you roll them in the cigar like blunt wraps, like
Yeah.
Swisher Sweets or whatever. You break it,
Yeah.
take it out, put the weed in the blunt wrap. Whereas like then you got the joints like this, just pure in a white thing. But I'm guessing in the UK, what do you smoke? You probably smoke spliffs.
I guess you guys would call it a spliff, but like it's only like I only use like a little sprinkle of tobacco, really. Like it's like I don't know, 60-40, 70-30. Like weed,
Nice.
maybe it's mainly just to give it a bit of flavor. It helps it burn a bit more evenly. I don't know. That's just me. But I do want to get a vaporizer, like one of those volcano things, with the big bag, because mainly just to like quit smoking in general. Like yeah. I don't know. I just feel like I need to be healthier, and I still.
That's like the least low key way to smoke ever. Just like, hold on 1 second, you just got this big contraption, like fucking.
Yeah, I know.
Animals and shit.
But like, I think like it would be 100% vaping with the bag thing, but just when I'm at home and like sitting in the living room.
For sure.
It'd be good, but yeah. It'd be nice.
I'm not gonna lie. I got a new hobby.
Joint, man.
I've been smoking cigars a lot. I don't know why. It's just I picked it up maybe like 6 months ago, and like once a week or maybe every other week, I like to go in my back room and like burn down a cigar, just puff on it. It's fun.
Well, that's a good healthy habit.
Stogies. Yeah. What's up, Distinct Motive? We got Phil in the house.
What up, Philly? Yeah, I mean, look, like I don't blame you. In the UK, I smoke spliffs when I'm there. Well, I used to all the time. Whenever I went to the UK, all my mates would put a bit of tobacco in it. I'd do it like you do. 70% weed, 30% tobacco.
Yeah.
But that's honestly because like growing up in New Zealand, we at least when I was young and a teenager, everybody smoked like weed. You'd never put tobacco in it. It was very much frowned upon. And like we'd get these like UK guys, drum and bass guys coming and visiting, and I remember talking to MC Conrad, LTJ Book. He was out with LTJ Bookham. MC Conrad, LTJ Bookham, amazing duo, legendary kind of jungle drum and bass guys. But
it's just a tiny bit out of my range.
He was on that Good Looking Records, right?
He runs Good Looking Records. MC Conrad was like the singer.
Yeah.
Amazing label, like it's almost like a subgenre itself, because the label was so influential. But big '90s stuff. Anyway, I'm sitting there with Bookham and Conrad. I had to go pick them up from the airport, and I rolled them all these big fat joints. And I was like, "Yeah, they're gonna love this." And like, they got them, and they were just like, "Dude, do you mind if we just like rip these open and like roll our own fucking spliffs with tobacco in them?" And at the time, I was like, I was kind of like, "What the fuck? That's so weird." Like, and I I wasn't butthurt, but I was just like, that's weird, dude. And, so I like got into a conversation with like Conrad when we were all smoking, and I was like smoking my pure one, and they were smoking their spliffs with tobacco, and I was like telling them like, it's all about the pure, man, bro. You got to switch to the pure. And Conrad actually like told me the story. He's like, nah, man. It's not just some UK shit. This has been going on. The Native Americans used to smoke it with tobacco. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, back like 1,000 years ago, they'd like put like a bit of dry tobacco in the peace pipe with the weed as well. And they knew that like, because basically even like before, like we know nowadays with science that tobacco kind of tightens up your lungs and weed kind of opens them. Like that loosens up your lungs when you smoke a joint. When you smoke a cigarette, kind of tightens them up. So like they knew back then that it did that, and they considered that like a more balanced kind of yin and yang high, because the tobacco kind of like tightens your lungs, the weed kind of loosens them. You mix a bit of both, it's kind of like the balanced high where you're like, And anyway, after he told me that, I smoked spliffs for about 7 or 8 years. With tobacco in them, and I was just like, I loved it, man. I was just like smoking in my house and spliffs, and like I just loved it. Now I'm back in America, and I just like smoke it pure again. But like, I enjoyed those days. Very bad for your lungs. Like for my lungs, like now my lungs are like they're at the healthiest I've ever been, because I haven't been flying in airplanes, and I haven't inhaling fucking air conditioned farts and all that shit.
Yeah.
But like also because I just haven't smoked any cigarettes or any tobacco for like almost over 2 years now. Like, you know, a couple of years ago I was smoking like a drunk cigarette at a party or some shit, you know, but now I haven't smoked any. You wouldn't believe how good my lungs feel just doing like.
Dude, speaking of air conditioned farts real quick, when I was a kid, I was on an airplane and I was like really young, and I ripped one on the plane, and it had zero smell. It had no smell. So like for years and years, I thought that like the airplane, something with the suction or something with the air, I thought it like had some magic effect to where it would like vacuum like some kind of thing. So then when I was an adult, I like had to rip so bad, and I like went for it because I was like, oh, it won't. It'll just instantly disappear, and it did not disappear at all. It's just completely. Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah,
that's a good little story.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Me of that
nice,
when you said air conditioned farts.
Yeah.
Oh, that's perfect,
dude.
But honestly, man, it depends where you are. Like, you know, whenever I go back to New Zealand, I'm shocked at how much people love drinking and how in the culture it is. And even in the UK where you are, up in Sheffield, it's fucking like, you know, it's the pub culture, like at least before the pandemic, you know, when you go, everyone's standing outside the pub after work in their suits and all that. And like, like you don't see that just like in a lot of places, you know, it's very much ingrained into the, you know, the culture. But you know, I've got nothing against like alcohol. I mean, it's not for me personally, but like, you know, if you enjoy it and you do it responsibly, then, you know, good on you. Like, do what
it's
you
not
want,
good for you, but I mean,
you know, I don't know if it's not good. I think anything like you know, like if you have a nice bit of wine or enjoy like a nice craft beer every now and then, it's not going to kill you, man. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's just it's when you start abusing it, and it's the same with weed. You know, like I personally, I probably smoke way too much weed, but like it's kept me off. Like it's kept me off like any other drugs or any other like alcohol or anything like that. You know, it's my one kind of thing.
Yeah.
So,
trying to pick your poison.
But even with weed, you can like smoke too much and abuse it, you know?
Yeah, I like when people talk like you can't that's my favorite is when people are like, weed doesn't do anything, dude. You can drive on weed all day and like whatever. I'm like, I've gotten like this stoned and like honestly like been way worse of a driver than even like in my past when I've ever like drunk driven. Like weed can fuck you up when you're driving, dude. It makes me like just straight like paranoid, like scared of a noise going by. I'm like, oh shit, like, you know, like
everybody's different, you know, because like I can do like a bunch of dabs, smoke joints, and fucking go driving all day, and I feel like I'm way more focused. Like I'm just like enjoying the drive. Like when I'm going around the hills and shit, I'm like real, like kind of good. I'm always watching my speed because I'm kind of like a little bit like just more aware. Like I don't know. For me, when I'm stoned, like I just feel like everybody's different, and you like
definitely. Hey, Phil had a good question up here. He was asking how you say your name.
Oh, it's Taiko.
Taiko.
Like it is Taiko, but like you can. There's like two different pronunciations for it, so you can either say Taiko or Taiko. Like I say Taiko, but like I've kind of given up being like, you know, being bothered. Like I wasn't bothered anyway, but like I think most people do tend to lean toward Taiko, which, you know, is
That's
fine.
what I was
it's
saying.
Technically like correct as well. So like
Well, I thought your name was Taiko until you told me yourself. You said, nah, Dre, it's Taiko. And then ever since then, I've always kind of been Taiko. Because there's another artist called Taiko as well, right? Isn't there?
T-Y-C-H-O.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like there's another one with like the same name, but it's like a German like electro house duo from the 90s or something. And I think I don't know. Somehow
look, same with Rez. You know, look at Rez. Do you know how many people say like we'll have Rez on a lineup and they'll say, "Well, you got is that Rez?" No, it's our Rez, our DDD Rez. Not the other one with
there's
the
even like hip hop Rez. There's like actually like an 8-bit, like I think he's like German or something, like an 8-bit like tunes, like Mario style dude who's like super sick. And there's just like a few. There's
it's a pain in the ass, to be honest, but like what do you expect? I mean,
the
thing we came up when we found the name Truth, we were shocked that no one was called Truth. Like, this was back in MySpace days, and we were like, someone's called Truth, surely. There's not one musical act we could find. And since then, there's been a bunch of like, you know, hip hop MCs and like some Christian rock bands and like a few other kind of truth entities that pop up. Our problem is we get a lot of like our Spotify, like, and our Apple Music for the longest time were fucked. Like, everyone is hitting us up going, you guys need to fix your fucking Spotify. It will play the devil's hands, then it will play some gospel song about I love Jesus, you know, like, and like that's because it's like going to like, you know, truth, like the Christian fucking gospel CD or something. Yeah. So like, I feel you guys, like it's a fucking, it can be a nightmare with like the names and like, you know. Yeah,
it's got to the point now as well. It's just like, you know, I've given up just being like every time like, oh, it's this actually, and it's useful to like, you know, say it in a thing like this because maybe there's, you know, some people watching or whatever. But like when like, you know, there's people asking you every time you play in a gig or whatever, it's just, you know, it's like anything. It gets old after a while. So it's just now I'm just like whatever, just like it doesn't matter, you know. Yeah. And I don't think it does matter at the end of the day, you know, like.
No. Well, what matters is music and exactly. But, you know, you do want people to be able to find your stuff online. Like you do you don't want them to be confusing you with like, you know, like if someone's like, oh man, my favorite artist is Taiko, and they like tell their little cousin, and then their little cousin goes and like downloads all the like Taiko stuff, and he's like, I love Taiko, and then they're like, hang on, I don't know that song. It can get fucking confusing, man.
For sure. Dude, in St. Louis one time, Adrian was doing an event for the Dove Sector nights or whatever, and these two guys like showed up, and they looked like, not like knocking him or nothing, but they just kind of looked like really out of place. Like they looked like they were going to like a Color Me Timbers or whatever the hell that festival. What is it? You know what I'm talking about? The like the biggest EDM festival there is. I don't know what they call it, but they like showed up there and they were like, we were all kind of wondering like, what are they? I wonder what they're here for, and like, cause there was like hardly anybody there. It was like, you know, probably like 10 people at this point, and we were like, I wonder what they're doing here. And like, we asked them, and they were like, yeah, dude, we're here to see Rez, man. And I was like, oh, really? You guys are like, what kind of Rez? Like, what are you talking about? He's like, the chick, dude. Like, we're here to see Rez. I was just like, oh man. I was like, oh, I got bad news, fellas. Like, the cover you just paid at the door. Probably go get refunded, honestly. So I've even had it happen like in my city, like at like very small like local event, you know, like so it's definitely a big misunderstanding for sure.
I've only ever had one really weird fucked up experience where they booked the wrong act, and I like turned up and they're like, who are you?
Really?
And like it was so strange. Like to this day I'm still kind of confused, but like I got booked for this show, and my agent was like, oh yeah, it's like in the middle of this square in like this town in Missoula in Montana. And like it's like in the middle of the square in the daytime. There's gonna be like kids fucking snowboarding and skating, and all this other jazz. I was like, oh, so
that's tight.
Sounds dope. Fuck yeah. And you know, like actual Truth fans came and all that, but it was actually like some fucking like weird like fundraiser party for some kid that died, and it was all these soccer mums, and like they were like, we thought you were a reggae band from New Zealand. I was like, no, we're not a reggae band from New Zealand. And she said, I booked a reggae band from New Zealand and they said they were going to play reggae music. I was, well, I'm not a band. I'm a fucking DJ.
Oh, dude.
My name's Truth. There's people standing there with Truth shirts. And I just like kind of go up there. Like
dark,
they actually have a setup. And like, so I like start like playing.
You were like, Rastafari, man.
I was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna start playing. So I'm like, drop the Fat Man, whatever. Like the kids are like loving it, like people are skating and shit. The soccer mum comes and taps me on the shoulder, like 2 tracks in. It's like, you have to stop right now, stop. I was like, what are you talking about? Like I got paid for this song contract. Like what? You're crazy. And she's like this angry ass, like kind of like soccer mum lady. like, and like, no offense to soccer mums, like soccer mums are cool.
Nah, fuck them.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, I don't know what she was, but like, she was angry with me because she thought that she had paid money for like some kid who had died for some reggae band from New Zealand.
Uh-oh. Everyone's dropping the K word.
I have no idea how she got in her head that we were a reggae band, but sorry.
Yeah, no.
Hilarious, man.
Yeah, so anyway, I ended up like getting off stage, and like the kids that like came to the show that were actual real truth fans, like they like put together a last minute show and like threw a show for me that night in a club on a sound system.
What?
So that was really cool.
No way. That's awesome.
Yeah. But like those people were so strange, and it was the weirdest experience for me because I like flew like 2 flights to get there. Yeah. And I thought it was like some legit thing that my agent arranged, and it was like they were just like, "Who are you?"
Yeah. Oh man, speaking of sound systems, someone had a good question earlier. Check12 says, "What are your favorite local sound systems, and what's their setup?"
Man, I wish I knew more about the technical aspect of like speakers and all that. I know how to make them go boom boom, but I don't really know much about the actual.
Are there any we should just shouting out some, like, if you know any, like, I mean, Distinct Motors already said it. I was gonna say Rez Sinai. I've got a friend Lars who does some stuff high fidelity, and there's all sorts. I've got mate Griff as well, who he's got Tower of Power. He's like in the middle of developing some stuff. I don't know too much technical stuff. I don't know. Yeah, they use like polars. I know that's like a bass bin style.
Well, didn't you play on a big ass on the Sinai system for?
Yeah, so that was at Dryad Works actually. Oh yeah, big up Dryad Works. Woo.
Hell yeah.
True.
And that big up Akid too, Mark Akid, man. Fuck, he's a legend. Yeah,
man. I think that like they've stopped working like at the minute. Like I'm not sure what's happening with that, to be fair, but it's mainly Hugh really who runs Sinai. So
sick.
The most ridiculous one.
Love Hugh.
Like
big
everyone's like, you know, everyone's put in a lot of work into the scene, like throughout, like, you know, the history of Sheffield. So yeah, there's so many people involved, like James and Lucas as well, and
hell yeah,
that's people.
I've been on the Tsunami a couple times. You guys play that Tsunami system?
Oh yeah, man. We love the Tsunami.
Yeah, that's probably
the Tsunami crew.
Like just gargantuan thing I've ever seen or played on, and but there's just been so many. Like they're all there's been so many good like just setups that sound incredible. Like every time I've ever done infrasound, whatever they're running is just like incredible.
Well, it's usually function 1, I think, at infrasound.
Yeah, they had one last time that was this red one that almost looked like something out of fucking like Whoville or something. Like the green.
Was it the Void?
It was like a crazy red one, and it was like all like
maybe it was the Void system.
It looked like a clown system or something.
I personally love the sound of Void just because, like, playing on the Incubus at fucking at Outlook a few times, and up in Manchester in a warehouse, and like just the Void system is some alien shit, you know. Like it's got the clarity and the punch, and like stabs you, but like in a nice way. I love like playing out here, especially like in this region in the Pacific Northwest on PK Sound. They got like all the PK Sound, like that's out of Calgary in Canada. So they got PK Sound. They kind of blew up out of nowhere, and like they're a pretty big company now. Like one of the
that used to be a big selling point. Like when I first started getting into electronic music, it was like Datsik, Excision, that kind of thing. And
they were pushing it because
they were pushing that.
Region.
That was how I first heard about it.
And Shambhala as well.
Yeah.
Good
endorsement on PK. Function 1, some of the other ones. Hennessy. Yeah.
Jinx.
That's good stuff.
Big up Hennessy. I love the sound of Hennessy too. I've always said like I'd love a little custom Hennessy system.
Yeah, it was called the Void, that crazy one I was talking about. A lot of people said the Void.
Yeah, it's the Void. Yeah.
That Tsunami system, I think that's Danley speakers.
Danley's,
yeah, that's good.
They
I
had
played on
that
those.
like that dance floor that vibrated, like you could stand on the dance floor and it kind of,
Yeah.
Straight rattle your
Cool,
brain. Yeah.
There's lots of cool like sound systems popping up all over the place, man. I know I'm on a page, a New Zealand page, where all the different little sound systems all over New Zealand, and like even in the past 10 years since I left New Zealand and I've been out here in the States, I just love seeing like the sound system culture popping up everywhere. Like even out here in the States, man, like there's so many crews and local kind of like DJ crews and MCs just like getting into the whole like let's get a sound system like and build it up and build a crew. It's kind of cool, man. For me personally, I love that shit. You know, like I'm all about like that kind of like sound system culture crews. Like I like because that's just what we grew up with, and you know.
You think DDD would ever do something like as far
sound
as
system?
Building a system?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
It's in the plans, dog.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Well, no, we haven't started it, but like, you know, it's obvious. It's like big bucket list shit. Like, you know, like it's one of my like bucket list, like
put your logo on them and everything, like a custom, fully.
Yeah,
like,
I just want to team up with someone that's like really, really good and just build. Like, it'd be pretty sick. Imagine like the fucking like the little logo on the speakers or something. I'm not sure like what would it do.
Dude, I'm envisioning it.
Yeah.
It looked like some just ancient shrine of like a system. Yeah.
Yeah.
We want to build a crazy stage.
You could get the grills, like the speaker grills, like cut, you know, with the like you're saying with the.
Oh yeah, dude.
Loads of stuff, like
Dude, that'd be lit.
Sure.
So if there's anyone listening out there that builds sound systems, we want to build a custom dream DDD system. DDDD.
Someone just said I just built a personal 2K watt system out of reinforced old 90s boxes. Big up.
Wow, cool.
Distinct Motive said he's got you.
I'm serious too. Like when I say that, like that's definitely like a goal. Like, you know, to have our own sound system. Yeah.
Forgive me 1 sec. I'm gonna hit the bathroom real quick.
Someone's saying Void will build it for you. Jeez, that would be lit. Imagine a custom like DDD Void system. Yeah, that'd be wild.
Man, that would be big. I guess like now would be a good time to start like planning it, man. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't know, what's it like in America? Do you think events are coming back fairly soon? Things are creeping open and.
Well, look, I mean, I know with you guys up there, they're saying June 21st, right? So like in the UK, everyone's excited.
I'm kind of like, I don't know, I'm sort of taking it with a pinch of salt right now, you know? It's like, because we've already had like 3 lockdowns, so it's just, I don't know, man.
Yeah, but like, honestly, man, I feel like this summer is going to be a really nice, hot, dry, roasting summer. And the vaccines are out and about now. Everybody's getting them.
That's it, man.
And I don't know. I think like it's going to be a patchy summer with some weird kind of social distance events. Some big outdoor festivals, maybe towards the end of summer, are going to open up and say, we feel good. We're going to have testing. I don't know what they'll do. But I know they've made some serious planning over the past year. All the big event.
There's been some real like success stories with it, like throughout the year. Like I guess more recently, I think was it Spain or maybe Portugal. Like they had a festival with like 1,500 people, and they had like, was it like lateral flow testing or something? So they had like same day testing. Everyone was negative, and they're like, no cases came from.
Totally.
And they just
there's ways to do it responsibly, you know, and I feel like out here in the States, it's going to be a bit longer just because like the States handled it in a strange way, in my opinion. Like it was just like like fucking all over the show. But,
same for UK, man, to be honest.
Yeah. But like so, you know, it's going to happen. But like I reckon summer, there'll be some patchy kind of things happening. And then like come fall or autumn, it's going to be like Boomtown. You know, like it's gonna be fucking like.
Hope so.
We're gonna be playing shows again. We're gonna be in clubs. We might have to be wearing masks. We might have to do a test at the door, but we're gonna be back in the clubs. I reckon, like around November and shit, man. Honestly, like.
And I think
we were saying that last year. I was like, come November, we'll be back in the club, and that was Jesus. Yeah.
But I think like especially like after like so long with no gigs or anything of that kind, you know, it's like we're kind of like we'll be a lot more accepting of certain things, you know. We'll be like, I'll fucking wear a mask immediately if it means I can play a gig, like you know. Yeah. So
I'm about to do a mask seated, like low capacity. There's like seated mask, like just doing all the things they can do.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit hesitant about like posting that up just because of it's not even like a fear of criticism. It's just like not wanting to even, I don't know, like have to deal with it or whatever. Like, but I think the way they're doing it is legit. So it's like, I don't see, you know, if anyone's gone anywhere but the grocery store in the last year, then I kind of don't want to hear about it because it's going to be even safer. It's like the grocery store, everything that's there has been touched 10 fucking times by, you know, from the time it was made to the time it's hit the shelf. And there's even people they can reach in their ass crack and fucking scratch it and then grab a box of macaroni and then put it back and like no one, you know, it's like, oh, that's okay. But, you know, and I don't know. I just, the way I see it, man, it's like if they're going to do limited capacity, like seated masks, like enforced, all that kind of stuff, it's like, what's the real harm, you know?
Yeah.
A couple hours of being in there.
Well, that's the thing. It's been a bit unfair for the entertainment industry because they've been incredibly harsh in restricting people. But then they've allowed, you know, like I went to the Costco and it's fucking like literally like 1,000 people in there shopping. Everyone's sampling the food, sitting on the massage chairs. Everyone's like touching each other, walking up to each other. It's like, you're allowed to do this, but you're not allowed to go to a bar. It's
they just busted some school board leader in California. He was you know, one of these big advocates for keeping the schools closed and everything. They just caught him. He was covering his face on the news and shit because they just caught him sending his kids to private school right now. Bring the shit. And it's like so many people just they want to do what they want to do, but at the same time, like they don't want to like condone it. But it's like at the end of the day, they just want. It's just all just such a mess.
I'm feeling so incredibly torn because like at first, when it first all went down, I was just like, I don't know, it seems like a bit of a thing. Like this could be bullshit. And then I was like, nah, this is very serious. We should take it really seriously. I'm not gonna fucking see anyone for a whole fucking year, which I've done. Like I literally I went to one gig in the whole year, and like it was a socially distanced thing, you know, like no crowd. They were all in hotel room fucking apartments and shit. But even that was risky as fuck because I had to fly on a plane to get there, and people were like wearing their masks down up below their noses and all that bullshit. So I regretted that. But like, fuck, man, shit's like, like it's hard to know. I'm bouncing around. I don't know, like if it's like one day I'll be like, oh man, what a scam. Like the next day I'll be like, oh, we better not like see anyone or like, you know. So I just haven't seen any friends, any family, anyone for like a year. You know, it's just me and my girlfriend pretty much.
And
and I'm sure it's like that for a lot of people, you know.
No, there's no doubt in my mind the legitimacy of all of it. It's just that like it's that we not me concept that I can't get behind, man, where people are just like they, you know, basically, you know, if you've gone anywhere but the grocery store, I just think it's like you can't really talk, you know. And I have, I'm not gonna sit here and lie, like I've gone, I've you know, I've been going to work for a year. I've been one of the, you know, essential workers, and you know, we'll see how long it takes before they're getting demonized. And it's just everyone's not paying attention to their own shit. If everyone just paid attention to their own shit and did what they could, like, you know. Do you know, do you know anyone at your kind of workplace that has had it and like died from it or anything? Like, has had what?
Has caught COVID and like?
No, I don't think anyone at our facility. I work at a big FedEx facility, like a big warehouse. There's like probably like I don't even know if there's a couple hundred maybe even, but like I haven't heard of anybody at all. Like they would probably make it known and make sure people, but all the drivers like me, we're on our own pretty much the whole day. So I don't even come in contact. The closest I get to anybody is when I'm going through security at the beginning of the day. I see a guard maybe, a few feet from me. That's about it. Other than that, I'm on my own the whole day. So that's pretty good.
It's lucky. I guess like if people are being really responsible and wearing masks and doing all that jazz, because there are definitely people dying. I know people that have died personally. It's not just a hoax. Like there's like I've got I got a bunch of friends that have had parents, grandparents.
Yeah. Well, my girl's grandpa died from it.
So it's not like it's not some made up thing, but what unfortunately happens with anything like this is people see opportunities, and they see people already scared. They see people locked down, and then they can manipulate us in other ways.
Oh yeah, totally.
And I'm not talking about governments. I'm saying like corporations, anything, man. They're all making there's certain industries that are making a fuck ton of money off.
Well, I wouldn't leave the government as like an exception to that though. Like they're saying like never let a tragedy go to waste, and I think they're guilty of that almost every single time. Whether it's Democrat,
100%, man.
Anything you can capitalize on, And that's the crazy thing. The government is they're as capitalist as they come. Like if they see an opportunity to like strike, they're not gonna not do it on the count of like, anything.
Well, look, it's a very real thing, and people are definitely dying. The question is, is the government like using it as an excuse to take away more like civil liberties?
I think so. I think some
excuses to spy on
Mm-hmm.
people, more excuses to take away our privacy. Who knows? Control the internet more. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like
when people are scared, they tend to make rash decisions.
I think especially some more of the like more conservative governments, maybe like the way they've been treating the entertainment industries and stuff. It's like you say, like don't let a crisis go to waste or whatever. But it's like they've got a big bag of all the like, the venues, and there's a few like holes in the bottom, and they're just like shaking it and just seeing if they can get rid of a few. And obviously all the smaller ones, the independent people and the promoters and all, like they're all dropping out, man. So I don't know. I don't know whether I believe that, but it's just like
it's definitely tough for the smaller guys, honestly,
and especially the government we've got. Like they're like well known for just like wanting to destroy clubs for like to put a railway down and shit. So
look, anyone who thinks it's a conspiracy that rich people at the very top of the ladder don't like gaining more control and more money and more power. If you think that's a conspiracy and that all the rich people at the top are just there for us and want to help us,
no, that's the thing. I laugh at people who think that the government loves you. They're like, oh, the government wouldn't do anything shady. They love me. They love me.
Like no, they've done a lot of shady things.
They're the same as every other entity that has power or money. It's all susceptible to corruption, man.
Well, look, the thing is, there's two ways you can look at it. And, I love a good conspiracy theory. I've always been obsessed with aliens, Bigfoot, you fucking name it, mate. Give me a good conspiracy. We could talk all day. But what I do not like is this fucking, this atmosphere, like late in the past few years, this QAnon bullshit, all this fucking, like, people are literally, like taking the conspiracy shit and, like literally like it's the opposite of what conspiracy, like the whole word is just basically like about not questioning the official narrative, and
sorry, go on,
and people, it's got to a dangerous point on the other end of things where people just don't believe anything, and they're not believing the scientists, they're not believing academic people that have spent their lives studying very focused areas of science and all kinds of things, medical things, and all of a sudden everyone's a fucking expert on Facebook.
You gotta love that.
It's just like, it's kind of crazy, all the Karens and all the fucking, I don't like how you got all these crazy kind of like, right-wing conservative kind of like QAnon people, but I also don't like all the like super left-wing super politically correct. Like you can't say this, you can't say that. Fucking like it's just like I don't know where I fucking stand because I'm not like right in the middle either. I'm just I just feel like I don't even fucking want to be on this thing anymore. You know what I mean? It's like I'm disgusted by the right wing shit. I'm disgusted by some of that left wing shit. I don't know where I stand. I'm not in the middle. I don't like that libertarian shit either. So I'm like, I don't know where I fucking stand now.
One of the problems for me is like you see a lot of these conspiracy people, whether they're like left or right, it doesn't matter. And like usually the issue is that they, instead of like starting with the evidence, following that and seeing where it leads, they like start.
Oh. Lost you for a second there. I think the UK government's fucking tuning in.
Oh, shit. They're on to us. I guess he dropped out.
The English government going, oh, cut him off.
Yeah. What say about the Queen?
Did you say about reptiles?
Yeah,
Anyway, we can carry on, Rez. I'm sure Taiko will come back and join us.
Yeah,
he was saying such a really good like point too.
Yeah, I'm right in the middle, man. Too, like you, I don't subscribe to anything that is, rude. Like anything that's like too far polar one way or the other. They give you this. It sucks because if you go down the line, there's so many things to check off the list as far as like your beliefs or your morals or your like ideas of how society should run, like socially or monetarily, and like there's so many different aspects to it. It's so gray, but they just give you this binary system and they go either you're left or you're right, now go. And it's like that sucks. That's archaic, dude. That doesn't make any sense anymore. And
it's a great way to divide a country. It's like you're on the blue team or the red team. It's like when you're little kids playing laser tag. They're like blue team, red team, go.
So there's a bunch of fucking morons, obviously, running around the earth and in this country, and I might be one of them, but I'm just saying, like the people. There's a lot of people who are just they're such morons. They're just susceptible to they're the same type of sports fans that just like want to get in fights in the parking lot because the other team's wearing a fucking Dodgers jersey and they're like, hey man, fuck you. There's these like weird just they have their side and they find this identity in it and they rep it way too hard, and that's why you got the radical left and the radical right. Unfortunately, those are the loudest voices are the ones, that are heard. There's not a lot of, if you're not saying anything that radical, then why would anybody fucking pay attention to you in the age of social media and, everything being viral and everything having to get 1 billion likes to fucking matter, and it's like,
exactly.
I think the silent majority just kind of stands strong in the middle, and we're just kind of waiting for that other option, I guess. I don't know.
Well, I mean, look, this is the thing. You presented the two sides, and like you got to choose the team. And people that don't want to choose the team, they're just considered like out of the system or something. I don't know what the fuck, but like you basically have to be in it. Like, otherwise, but like life isn't just black and white, mate. Life is like lots of different fucking shades, isn't it?
Totally.
And like it's just crazy that this in this day and age is like
it is a lesser of two evils. Everybody wants to complain about the lesser of two evils, but that's really what you got, man. There's no way around it. Do I want does more of the majority of my stuff line up with this, or does more of a majority of my stuff line up with that? It doesn't mean you worship either side. It just means like, fuck, I only got two options and it is a lesser of two evils. It doesn't mean everyone who ever votes for Trump is a fucking piece of shit Nazi, and it doesn't mean that everyone votes for Biden as a fucking communist fucking, free speech squasher. It doesn't, there's no like, it doesn't necessarily mean that, for some people it does, but
I think like a lot of, our thoughts can be so easily manipulated now. Like back in the day, like, you used to like be influenced by like what they said on the news and like TV and all that. Like now, like on the internet, we're just actually being bombarded with so much fucking information, and they've got so fucking good at injecting information into our lives. And we are, as humans, sponges. We can't help but walk around. Even this conversation now that we're having together, the things you've said to me, the things I've said to you, we're like sponges, man. We soak it up. Totally. And if someone's constantly repeating over and over the same messages again, even if they're doing it in a very subtle way, there are certain parts of America, for example, when I land in that place, I know it doesn't matter if the people really good people or really bad people, they all believe like certain things in that area and like have a certain way of thinking because they've been indoctrinated and conditioned in that way, like it's not that they're like right or wrong, it's just like they've been told that message and they've been squeezed that selected information through that channel. Like when you like, for example, like go and watch like Fox News, for example, in LA. I know Fox News is extreme and all that shit, but like say if you watch Fox News in LA, then go watch Fox News in fucking Alabama, it's like it's like a different channel. They're like giving us like different information, but they're pushing the same kind of like angle. The same with CNN, it's the same with all of those major news corps, but like it's fucking crazy how like
they all got you'd be naive not to think that every single one of them has some sort of agenda behind it,
Oh, of course they do. I mean, everything has an agenda, and all those major news corporations are selective because you have to be, like, otherwise if they were reporting just everything that important that was happening in the world, it's just too much news. So they've got to
no, that's the other thing about it that's kind of dangerous is, like you said, everything's injected is a perfect word because there's too many tragedies that happen every day. I mean, even within this conversation, like thousands of just atrocities have happened across the world, and it's too much. It's like, it's depressing, man. It's
how much of it's real and how much of it,
well, yeah, I mean, and it's like so you have to be selective, and what the news chooses to inject you with is, it's very methodical. It's not there. If they told you about every atrocity that was happening as it unfolded in real time, there'd have to be 50 fucking channels of it. They're all doing different shit, and it would be ever changing at all times. Like, there's just so much going on. They choose what to show you and what not to show you. They omit things. I mean, even really important things, they can omit them just to, But
and honestly,
like conspiratorial. Sorry.
Well, honestly, what we're talking about is relevant, but like even now, like things are way more, things are even way more complex with the internet in the way like they've got us like staring at our phones, and like it's not like it used to be like looking at the tube, like on TV, and look like you got the news channels, you got the movie channels, you got the documentaries. Everything's like shaped towards certain angles, agendas to suit like certain kind of whoever it is. I don't know if it's governments, corporations, whatever.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying now is we're being struck by like all this information from like so many different angles, and half of it, like you'll see like some dude post something like on Twitter and you'll be like, what the fuck? Or you'll be like, yeah, I agree with that. And that could just be literally some Russian bot or some Chinese bot or an American
you can just
bot.
go at this day and age, you can find anything you want to validate your, you just go to imright.com and there you go. You can show that to all your friends and be like, see, I'm right. And it's like, all right, well, what does it even mean anymore? It's like, it's so cheap and,
well, I'm just saying how much those bots and all those like algorithms kind of like reading what we're doing and then shaping our kind of perception and shaping our future, the thing that they're all like kind of real interested in, from what I've seen on that show, the thing of, I wish I remember the name. It's on Netflix anyway. I'll look it up. But basically they're saying like the dudes at the top of like Facebook and Twitter and all that, the thing they're most obsessed with right now is like predicting the future and being able to control the future. And they're like learning that like, if they just like think of it as like a guy in a control tower with a few levers. If he pulls this string a little bit and pushes this one a little bit, it can manipulate a very real world situation through the digital information they put out.
Like a rat in a maze, you can
things.
just put up a little barrier here and then put an opening there.
Hey, he's back. There he is. Woohoo! We're worried about you. We thought the UK government had come and kidnapped you.
That's exactly what they did. But
you were just in the middle of saying something really interesting too, and then you got cut off.
Oh, I can't remember what it was now. Shit. I was saying.
Bots right now.
No, I was saying like with the conspiracy people, like they liked like instead of like following the evidence and seeing where that leads, like they start with the the opinion or idea that they've heard,
find out how to justify it,
and then find out how to justify it with like whether it's like a little cropped little like propaganda piece and like left or right, I'm not like saying like whichever, but
you're right, man.
Yeah, I think like, and as now that like opinions have become just as valuable as facts for some reason, like I don't know, it's just a weird like political state at the minute. I don't know. Yeah, sorry, I don't know if you guys were talking about this.
No, we were. I mean, we're talking about how we're living in a confusing information age where you don't know if the information you're being presented is actually real or if it's just serving some kind of agenda. And we're talking about how like there's like foreign bots now influencing things where we think it's real people, but it's just actually like, who knows, corporations or governments or whatever trying to like manipulate the way we kind of, our views on the world or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at.
Nice.
Kind of pretty deep down the rabbit hole, not all the way, but kind of like hanging on to a branch, like halfway down the rabbit hole, like struggling for life.
There's a quote. Sorry, go ahead.
No.
This quote from like this philosopher I just read the other day. I'm not trying to like sound smart or nothing. It was like on accident I saw this, but it was like only tend to the garden you can touch, and I was like, man, if everybody did that, the world would be such a fucking better place because of the internet and everything. Everyone's in everyone else's fucking business, trying to control how everyone thinks, trying to make everyone fucking comply. This day and age, everyone, at least in America, everyone's obsessed with the fucking idea of compliance. They need that compliance. And it doesn't matter if it's like on a just little micro level or on the macro. They just need compliance. It's really strange, man.
What do you mean by compliance?
Like you have to accept what I'm saying as like the undeniable fact. Like you have to agree with me. You have to otherwise.
Yeah.
And if everybody would just pay attention to their own fucking life, if you go outside and talk to your neighbor and go to the grocery store and go to work and come home and hang with your friends and family or whatever, you just realize that the world's not as fucking divided as it seems. It's just divided because because of the internet, everyone's picked those camps, and every situation is fucked up. Every time something happens, it doesn't matter what it is. You go online, and within 5 minutes, they've already decided where the line in the sand is, and they've already decided like if you're on this side, you're a this, and if you're on this side, you're a that. And it's every situation ever. Like tomorrow, if fucking something happened with well, I'm not even I don't even need to make it out, but it's like any little thing, they just that on Twitter or wherever, the line's already there, and it's just like if you're on that side, you suck. If you're on this side, you're cool. Vice versa,
And like
also online, it's weird, man, because like one thing I've learned from like traveling is like, I've gone to countries honestly that I thought I'd never go to, that where I like thought like I disagreed with things in that place, or like I've been like places even in the States where I'm like I don't know about that place, like before I moved to America, like I was like very like I was like fuck Texas, fuck George Bush and all that, like living in New Zealand like with the like Iraq, like 9/11 and like all those wars and shit. I was like fuck George Bush, he's a cunt. But and like fuck, like I thought Texas was just some like hoo-ha and cowboy fucking land and all that shit. And then I came over here and met people in Texas, and like it became one of my favorite places, you know what I mean? And like Texas, I love the people, and don't get me wrong, like the funny thing about life is, and this is what people always forget, like there are people online like that I'll like strongly disagree with. Like they'll say something and I'll be like, what you're saying, I'm very against that. I really disagree with you. But then if you like really think about it, like I've met those same kind of people and then I've gone and like hung out with them, talked to them, and you're like, we've actually got so much more in common than we have that's you know, our disagreement. Like, you know, say like for example, like one example, and I don't want to specifically get into this, but like, you know, say like abortion, for example, it's a very, very, very specific little thing in life that only affects kind of like, I know it's like a big thing that affects like lots of people, but like, you know, you can actually like disagree with someone on abortion, sit with them in a room and agree with them on so many other things and have a good time and fucking actually like be positive and have a positive experience with that person and be like, yo, you're a good person. They like, yeah, you're a good person. Thanks for meeting me. Like, whereas like, but if you disagree on, whether babies should at this time should be killed, and it's like so specific, like you're gonna really hate someone over that little specific thing. But that's because you've been manipulated to think it's such an important thing we should all be focusing on. Let's go blow up the fucking Planned Parenthood and all that bullshit. It's crazy, man. People like take it way too far and way too seriously, and they focus on political issues that really like shouldn't be dividing people. It should just be like stuff that we say, oh well, hey, you know, you think that way, I think this way. Who cares? Let's go fucking have a beer. Let's go smoke a joint. Let's go play tennis. I don't fucking know.
I've had relationships where we don't agree on every, like, if you go down the line of issues, like there's ones where it's just polar opposite, but it's like, that's still your homie at the end of the day, your person, you know?
I think even with the like political stuff, like, you know, say you are like having a debate or an argument, like, generally nowadays there's only like a few outcomes that will happen, you know. It's like either you both like, either one of you is going to convince the other one completely of your argument, or both of you are going to like walk away like more entrenched in your own ideas. And like, I don't know, you just see so many of these arguments happening these days, like, you know, it's usually going to be the latter, really. But like,
it gets further apart.
At the end of the day, like, you're not going to convince anyone or like friends with them or bring them around to your side by calling them a dickhead, you know? So, like,
totally.
It's I get it's right.
It's just crazy, like in real life, like things are very different, man, than on like just like Facebook or something. Like people take things so seriously. They're like, I just can't believe you fucking said that, like, you know, like, and I get fired up too, you know. I'll wake up and I'll like open my thing and be like, what is this guy saying? Like, oh my god, like what an idiot. Like, but like, do you want to get on there and fight and disagree with them, or do you want to just get on with your day and like be like, oh well, who cares?
I don't have the time, man. I don't have the energy or the time.
No,
I don't have the energy for that, man.
Can you imagine like one of those Facebook threads, you know, and there's just these really like just brutal like comments straight one after another? Like if that was in real life, man, and people were just like face to face, say like do you know what I mean?
People get emboldened. I was just having this conversation earlier today. Like when people are in their cars or anything, there's a lot of road rage like around here.
That's it.
A lot of just straight up unnecessary drivers around here, like, and I get in like little,
it's crazy, like in real life,
impatient thing. And in real life you'd be fucking, you know, I had an uncle that had like real bad road rage problems, and he would fucking he like punched somebody in the face one time at a stoplight because they were like flipping him off and fucking trying to like hit his car and shit. And he got to the stoplight and he fucking got out and socked them. And I was like, you know, that's questionable. Like, I'm not gonna say that that's like cool to do, but I'm just saying, like, people don't act like it's real life on the internet or when they're safe in like a vehicle. They're just like, oh, that's not a real person. It's like, no, that's a real person. They'll fuck you up, you know? Like, you know, you wouldn't go in the grocery store line and when someone cuts you off, you wouldn't be like, hey man, fuck you, man. Like, you wouldn't do that. But in a car, they have this weird, like, I don't know.
I guess like
sense. I don't know.
They're in like a metal shell, man. Fucking
big safe like cocoon, but like fucking, you know. And it's the same with the internet. Like people say things they would never say to someone's face or get into some sort of, you know. Anyway,
That's crazy, man. People just need to like chill out and kind of realize that like we're all kind of, as this sounds super fucking cheesy, but like if everybody realizes that we're like all connected and we're all like brothers and sisters, and like if like we realize like we're all like just kind of like, you know, can get along. I know that sounds like, why can't we all just get along, smoking the joint? I'm just saying, like, you know, seriously though, like, fuck me, man. It's 2021. Haven't we learnt from all the other like dodgy shit that all those old warmongering cunts have done over the years that we've learnt from, being like, well, that was a mistake. We fucked up there. Probably shouldn't have gone and invaded that place. You know, like, people can learn from mistakes, learn from the past. That's the problem, man. People have got fucking goldfish memories. Like, you talk to like a lot of kids about like the war, like World War II or some shit. Like, for me growing up, I was obsessed with like World War II and the fucking
me too, man.
like the Nazi Hitler fucking
it's insane.
Everything about it. I was just like fascinated by the history of it, and I learned a lot about it. But I feel like, you know, I'm not saying all young kids don't know shit, blah blah blah. I'm just saying,
well, they don't recognize that they're not, that, you know, just because it doesn't look like it, and it doesn't, you know, just because, I don't know, just like, people don't learn from history, sadly, man.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying we need to really always be reflecting on what's happened, and like, you know, and learning from that, and then moving forward. And I think if we've learned anything, it's like working together is the best way, man. And like, when countries like work together and they're peaceful and fucking, you know, we help each other. You know, I've been to countries, honestly, that I thought I never dreamt that I'd go to. You know, that I was told, like, when I was young, like, don't go there. Those people are bad. Fucking, you know, like, they're your enemies. Like, you know, just basically. And then you meet those people, and you're like, you're really good people. It was actually just like that government and that other government that didn't like each other, and they made everyone hate each other. And it's like,
was that Australia?
No. No, not quite. But Australia, New Zealand, and Australia, we got a mad rivalry, but it's more like Big Brother, like, you know, like, like you love your big brother, but you hate him. You know,
it's like tongue in cheek, isn't it? Just like,
like, we want to beat them in every sport, and like, even if like you guys, like, if like England are playing Australia in any sport, I'll root for England, 100%. Do you know why? Because I'll root for any team playing Australia.
Nice.
It's just the New Zealander in me, man. You know, like, we just got it. Like, that's some ingrained conditioned shit. You know, like. Yeah. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like far worse shit. You know, like. I mean, look, I'll tell you what. My mum's from Cyprus. You know, and the Greek island, Cyprus, Mediterranean. And that they were invaded by Turkey in the 70s. So that was
shit happens still,
yeah, like, it was a Turkish invasion. It happened and basically, like, you know, a lot of people lost their shit. They like took over all this land. It's like, well, I'm not going to get deep into the politics of that, but anyway, it was a horrible thing that happened. And growing up with a like Greek Cypriot mother in New Zealand, and my grandma and everything, they were always like, oh, Turkish people, bad place, you know, like, they invaded the country, you know what I mean? So so I was always like, oh yeah, whatever. And then like, I finally like started getting booked in Turkey. You know, I played like I've played in Turkey like 4 times now. I played in Istanbul at a place called Pixie, and
nice.
Some of the coolest people I've ever met. I love Turkish people. I love Turkish culture. I love Turkish food. Yeah. I don't agree with what happened in the past when their government fucking decided to invade that little Greek island and fuck up those people. I think that's wrong. But I think the Turkish people that I met, they didn't even fucking like their government anyway. They're fucking cool people. And like, people have just got to realize, I'm sure there's Americans out there that are like, you know, there's certain countries they just think like, you know, like, fucking blah blah blah, like,
no doubt. Yeah.
Like some Middle Eastern country, like, people out there are fucking terrorists or something. I bet you if they actually went and like, if you got your average Joe Blow from like fucking, say, like, I don't know, Oklahoma or Alabama or Tennessee, right? Some fucking farmer dude who's like a bit racist, a bit redneck, you know. I'm not saying everyone down there is like that at all. Don't get me
just
wrong.
generalize.
We're just trying to like a stereotype, like some racist old farmer dude, and he took like some like old fucking dude, Afghani farmer dude that hates Americans and shit in his little village, and you put them together. I swear to God, bro, they'd probably hang out and have the fucking best time of their
Yeah.
lives. Be like brothers and
Dude,
and
my
love each other.
my
But they don't want
stepdad,
you to know that, man.
my
They don't
stepdad's
want you
like
to
way
know
big
that you
into
can,
World
like-
War II.
Yeah.
He's like the most knowledgeable dude I know on it, and he told me a story just like what you were saying, where this guy, because he's a pilot, my stepdad, so he's all into the aero fights from like World War II.
Yeah.
And there was this pilot who flew for, I think, might have been, I don't know if it was the Germans or like the Italians or what. He flew for one of the Axis powers, and then this guy from the U.S. who was a fighter pilot, he retired to like Connecticut or some shit. And this is a true story that he was telling me about. And the other guy from Europe, he immigrated here after the war or something like that, or they both went to some other country, like neutral country, and they like come in contact. They were like hanging at a bar, and through like just talking, they like realized that like it was like, yeah, I flew in World War II. He's like, oh really? Like me too. And then they ended up like becoming like homies. And even though they like fought against each other in the war, it was like different fighter pilots.
Yeah.
Both of them fighter pilots. I think they were even in the same battle at one point. But he was telling me the story. I was like, that's fucking insane, man. Like,
That is insane.
I wouldn't be friends with that. I wouldn't be friends with a dude that I was fighting against, like just because of like the fact that we were both trying to take each other's lives. But you would like to think that the Allies were in the right and the Axis were in the wrong. But it's like, it's still just, I don't know. It's just crazy.
But like, have you ever like thought about how strange war can be? Like, for example, like, I always think about this one, like, you know how they fought like in the South Pacific, like there was like the Japanese versus like the Americans and like New Zealand.
That kept going for like a few years after the official war ended, didn't it? Like,
yeah, that was some fucked up shit. But they were like fighting in like some really fucking like middle of nowhere, beautiful fucking islands, like in the South Pacific, and basically like those people on those islands didn't know what the fuck was going on. People, young guys, all the way from Japan got flown down there, like in the Solomon Islands, you know, like Fiji and all that, right? So you got like young Japanese dudes, you got young New Zealand dudes and Australians, British, whatever, Americans, whoever fighting the Japanese at the time. And imagine like you've flown, it's your first ever trip, right? You're 18 and you're like, cool, I'm in the army. You get on a plane, you fly to this beautiful fucking Pacific island with palm trees. You're a Japanese guy, you fucking fly there, right? You meet up, you're lying on the battlefield, right? And you're lying there in the scrub, and you're like looking at this other guy through a fucking sniper, this other 18-year-old, and he's looking at you. You guys never met each other. You don't know who the fuck he is. You don't even know where the fuck you are right now. You're just in some fucking beautiful Pacific island where you should actually be cracking open a beer and going, hey, let's go for a swim, buddy. But instead, you're pointing your guns at each other and you're about to kill each other. Don't you think that's the weirdest thing? Like,
it's so strange, man.
For me, it's so weird. I don't know. Like,
it's
I don't
hard
know.
to comprehend. Like, but I guess like at the end of the day, they're soldiers, you know, and they've gone. That's why they've gone through that training, you know, and at the end of the day, those are their orders. It's like kill those guys.
My stepdad, he grew up in Italy, so he's like known. He grew up in Italy till he was like 7, so like that's all he really knew for the first 7 years was Italian culture and like Italian people. And he told me that, you know, most of the people that were fighting, they don't have a choice really in what the cause is. It's kind of like you can't really blame. And I always saw that as sort of like apologist for, you know, fighting that fight that ultimately was genocidal in nature and stuff. But like, it's kind of, you know, it's true. Like a lot of people they have to carry out the orders. It's like if they had some mandatory draft now, it's like I can't really decide what, you know. Not that I think America would do anything that was blatantly, you know, imperialistic or like expand, trying to, you know, take over some shit.
And if you were like a deserter, you know, you'd be shot or like go to prison for the rest of your life. So like,
so I'd rather do
like
that.
What, you know, take your chances. Like,
I don't think that would fly
against the
nowadays,
enemy,
man.
or like.
I don't think America would go for that. I think in 2021, just based on culture and where we're at right now, from what I can see, I don't think a draft would ever be able to happen again. I think there was with the internet, there's such an uprising that could take place, and everyone could say, you know what are they gonna do? Throw fucking 100 million of us in jail? Fuck off,
Nah. I thought the same, and then I figured out one way that they're gonna make everyone want to join the draft.
How's that?
There's one way. I'm telling you, like everyone, you know how everyone's like, I will not go to war, fuck war, blah blah blah, never blah blah. You will go to war when the fake alien invasion happens.
Oh, there you go.
And we all have to join together as a human race and fight the fucking evil fucking aliens that come and attack us. That's when you'll join it.
Fuck that.
I'm in, man. I'll get a gun for that.
I mean,
and don't get me wrong, like what I was saying before about like, I'm sure like if you're at war and you're fucking lying there, you're gonna shoot the fucking enemy soldier. That's your orders. But I'm just saying, isn't it weird if you stop for that moment and think about it? Like just how weird the whole situation is. Yeah, like from like
just a couple
imagine it from a bird's eye perspective, like an alien looking down going, look at these silly humans kind of like battling each other, I don't know.
It is silly, man. And especially I think war nowadays is like a lot more sneaky, you don't have to have like battalions of men like charging at each other anymore, like the technology there is nowadays, like you can have
everyone's saying it's going to be drones and shit fighting each other.
Well, it's not that it's going to be. I mean, that's what's been happening for like Obama era. They had loads of drone strikes. He's the one that kind of started all that, and then since
especially
then,
like cyber warfare and stuff, man. Like if you take down a country's infrastructure, like that does way more than like an army ever could. Like overnight. If you
totally. And like also just the dirty wars that we don't like, like I remember back in the day, like, me and my family in New Zealand, we like sat down on CNN, they're like, get ready for the countdown, America's fucking desert strike, Operation Desert Strike, and we're getting ready to invade Iraq, and everyone like, oh, look at the tanks roll in, and look at them striking Baghdad, boom, boom, boom. It's like, wow, look at this high-tech war. Now it's not like that. It's fucking covert operations during the night. It's things that you don't even hear about until after they've happened, maybe years down the track. I
mean, I'm sure there are still bombs going off and stuff, but
there are, but you don't hear about a lot of stuff. And the things you do hear about, often the information is all mashed up, and there's a lot of like weird kind of like covert things going on, that like strikes and precision things going on. There's like drone strikes, there's all kinds of shit, man, that you don't hear about. Like,
I hope eventually it just turns into like that show Battle Bots, where we can just have the best fucking bot for this country. It's like, all right, who's gonna win?
They should get like fucking just give everyone in every army in the world like a paintball gun, and it's like if you get hit, you're out. That's it. Okay. And then like once everything's said and done, like whoever wins, you've won. Everyone's still alive.
I agree, man.
Yeah, but no, that'd be terrible for like world politics, right?
If only it was that easy, mate.
Yeah,
man.
I just feel like though, like like when you're a kid, like, and you like look, I don't know, like when I was like kind of like a teenage kid, and I was like, oh yeah, by the time I'm a fucking old dude, like all the other old like warmongering cunts will die, and we'll be in charge, and we'll make sure the world's peaceful and everyone's like chill. But like then I like look at like kids that are like way younger than me, and they're like ultra conservative,
fucked up,
ultra like
there'll always be people, man. There'll always be people that just don't give a fuck,
It's
nice to think that society could all get together, but there's always going to be, it's like that movie Batman, where he's like, some men just want to watch the world burn. Like some people just don't give a fuck, man. It's sad.
Well, some people only give a fuck about themselves and their kind of, or like their tight knit kind of either their family or community or like whatever it is, like, and they don't care about like, they don't realize that like how connected everything is, man. And how small the world is. Like it's just so fucking small, man. Honestly, like the more you travel, the more you realize it's like, wow, this world is really fucking small.
Imagine before the internet and before planes and shit, like no one even knew how, they thought it was just infinitely vast, and now it's just made it so much smaller. I mean, look at us three, man. I got the least cool accent of all three of us, but you're over there and he's over there, and I'm.
Depends where you're from. In New Zealand, people think American accents are cool, so there you go.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Right on.
It is pretty amazing because look, you're in St. Louis, you're in Sheffield, UK. I'm up here in the Pacific Northwest, just out of Portland.
Oh, is that where you're at now? Are you stationed there now?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so you got out of LA?
Oh yeah, I got out of LA. My neighborhood was fucking lit, bro, in LA.
Oh yeah.
Well, it was already lit before the pandemic. Like I stayed there for like 5 or 6 years, right in the heart of like a very active kind of neighborhood. Big up Diamond Street gang. But yeah, basically.
I love LA, man.
Like the first week I was there, like the guy, like this kid walked up to me, he came up on his BMX. He wasn't a kid, he was like some old kind of like some older dude. But anyway, he was just like, yo, what you doing here? I was like, I live here, that's my house right there. He goes, welcome to Diamond Street. I was like,
that's like something out of Grand Theft Auto, dude. That's crazy.
No, you don't know. Okay, you don't understand. Like I lived in, like when you play Grand Theft Auto 5 and it's in LA and all that shit. I lived in that like San Andreas. I lived in it, man. Like where I was, everything about it. Like you walk out and the homies come and talk to you, and you got like homeless people on your street. You've got like mad gang activity. Like I seen like well, I didn't see it, but a guy got his guts shot like out right on my corner, and next to my house I seen like dudes with cops with battering rams like knocking down doors and kicking people out of their flats, and then they like built these like apartments and gentrified it and shit. But anyway, all I'm saying is fucking for the pandemic it was fucking pretty terrible living there, and like I stayed there for like 6 months during the pandemic, and I was like, yeah, I want to get out of here, man. And like I moved up here to the Pacific Northwest. I love it. It's much more like nature and fresh air, and just like it's out of the like fucking shit show, where I was.
Yeah.
I grew up.
But I love LA though. Don't get me wrong. It's a love-hate relationship. I was saying last week on the show, like I love it, but I hate it.
Yeah, I grew up in Fresno, and LA's always kind of been like illustrious to me. I used to go there a lot, and my aunt lived there. I visited her for like weeks at a time. She actually lived on the street that the OJ like murders or whatever happened. She like lived right there, and I would just visit her all the time. Like it was always a huge treat to go to LA. That was like really fun or whatever.
Look, man, and I totally get that, because like it's been glamorized throughout like the movies and media, and like LA is just so weird, because like I remember the first time I went there with my family when I was a kid. We like begged my family for years. I was begging my mum and dad when we were little kids to go to Disneyland. They literally like saved up for like 5 fucking years or something, because it was so expensive back then for us to go from New Zealand to. And we finally went, and I just couldn't believe how much of a fucking crazy place LA was. Like, my dad like took a wrong turn into this neighborhood. This was like in the fucking early 90s LA, and like we were in like some fucking like Boys in the Hood shit, and like I was expecting like fucking Ice Cube to roll out or whatever, but like that place has seen some fucking awesome periods of history. Like there's been some like golden eras, there's been some really good times to be in certain parts of LA, and some really terrible moments to experience. And where I was, like downtown was getting gentrified. We're seeing lots of cool new restaurants popping up and all this other shit, but like the homeless problem was fucked, bro. Like 30,000 homeless people.
I know it's getting worse and worse down there.
A mile away from where I am, in the middle of a pandemic. There's like all kinds of fucking just terrible things going on with the protests. We had cops fucking always just at our house, outside our house, fucking everywhere. Like, so like
probably a lot more quiet where you're at.
Yeah, this is just like way more chill, man. It's like more like New Zealand or England or fucking where you are, probably, Rez. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I've been up there too, to that area where you're at. It's cool. I was actually born up by like San Fran. That's not totally where you're at, but
San Fran's nice. Like that was one of the first places I moved.
Yeah, I was born in Modesto right there. I don't know if you know Modesto. But that's where I was born, and kind of grew up in like Fresno area. But I've been up and down there. We even lived in Yosemite for a little bit, for like 6 months or so. We lived right on the borderline of the national park. That was probably the coolest place I've ever actually lived. But,
Such a great part of the United States. I love such
man.
a beautiful part of the country. Yeah.
Totally. Probably looks a lot like that up where you're at.
Nice.
It's that like kind of the California wilder.
Where I am, it's like a lot of like lakes and big pine trees and like ferns. It's kind of like semi.
Totally.
It's not tropical. It's more like what's it called? Like it's like a cold rainforest, like a temperate rainforest, not like a hot.
That's where they shot the second Jurassic Park, The Lost World. They shot it up there.
Oh no way!
Yeah,
really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, they've shot loads of movies up these ways for sure, mate. Like fucking Rambo and shit. I'm pretty sure that was up down here in BC, Canada, and all
Rambo.
that. Yeah, I love Rambo. All the Rambo
dude.
movies. Yeah, they're sick.
Man, I remember, whenever they came out with the remake. Do you remember the Rambo remake?
Well, when he's the old man.
Yeah. But it was like supposed to be like, I guess, a remake or something.
Last Blood or something.
One that came out like 2010 or something like that.
Yeah.
And like these friends of mine, like this like church like youth group or whatever, like they were like, yo, come watch this like Rambo movie. We're gonna like put it on the projector at the church. And I was like, that seems like kind of a gnarly movie for like a church. But like we went there and like people's heads started fucking exploding and shit. And like it was just the most gnarly movie. And they didn't even like know what they were getting into.
Is that the one where he's trying to get his daughter?
I'm not even sure what the
I think he's like
plot
trying to
was.
save his daughter because she goes to like Mexico or something. I don't know, something crazy. He's like,
I just thought it was such a funny fail that they would like take that movie there and think that was gonna be like I guess appropriate or whatever. I don't know. It was just
that's funny. But to be honest, like Christianity and religion has got a lot to do with violence and like everything. So hey, perfectly. Like if you look back at history of the Crusades and all that shit, like they should
the Inquisition and shit, man. Like, it's like,
but yeah.
Dude, this guy's head at the end, I swear they used a watermelon prop and just
that was sick.
I love that. Yeah.
If you watch all the Rambo movies, like you can actually watch them consecutively and it works really good. Like it's a nice day of just violence and
the OG Rambo is really cool though, the original one.
Oh yeah, when he's just getting chased by the cops and they're like
the 50 cal scene, that was it. Someone was saying the 50 cal. Yeah,
the cop tries to like drive him out of the town. He's like, well, people like you ain't welcome here.
Yeah, man. Because he was a soldier, man.
He's a bit,
against the war,
Wasn't that like guy in Predator, man, with that huge minigun,
Yeah.
Wandering around the
Predator's
rainforest.
another good classic.
Yeah. I love the original Predator movie.
Yeah.
So sick.
So good.
Yeah, my dad got me into all those kind of movies when I was young.
Did you like Commando?
I didn't see Commando.
What? You've never seen Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
No, never saw that one.
Please do me a favor and watch that. It's part of American history, mate.
Oh, okay. Word.
Well, it's just part of your like culture, bro. You got to watch that.
I love me some Arnold, dude. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
What was it called?
Commando.
Oh, Commando.
Man, what was that film with Jean-Claude Van Damme in it? And it was like Universal Soldier. That was awesome.
That's sick. I love Universal Soldier. Yeah, Universal Soldiers are that was quite a scary, realistic movie that made me honestly think, the government's probably building fucking crazy soldiers, and that was like in the 80s, so fuck knows what they've got now, but yeah,
I got that in my notes. I'll check out Commando for sure.
Do you guys have any favorite kind of like movie genres that you like watching, or like any shows or kind of movies that you?
I don't have a favorite genre. I like it all, but I definitely got a hardcore, like since I was about 10 years old. My top 3 have been the exact same since I was like 10. It's
really
favorite movie of all time is the first Jurassic Park. It's
sick.
like the most nostalgic, I think, masterpiece. Like
Sam Neill, he's a Kiwi, the lead actor.
Yeah, he's New Zealand, right?
Yeah.
Or is he New Zealand or is he Australian?
Oh, come on, mate.
Sorry, dude.
They're always trying to steal it, like claim our guys. They tried to claim Russell Crowe and they tried to claim the fucking Pavlova.
How about dude? I actually love the Flight of the Conchords. That's like one of my favorite shows.
Well, what's your third movie?
Oh, so my second movie of all time is Pulp Fiction. I know it's like that's like an easy one. Actually, I got a poster back there.
Great movie.
Yeah, man. And then the third one is the this is a cheesy one, but it's just I can't help it. It's my third favorite. The Gone in 60 Seconds, the remake from 2000 with Nick Cage.
Yeah, yes, man.
That's it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But anyway, that's my top.
Anything
3.
Nick Cage is just fucking lit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I've been
What
on
an interesting guy.
a Nick Cage hype recently, man. Like, me and my girlfriend have just been watching loads of Nick Cage films on Netflix consecutively.
He just pumps them out. He's prolific.
Yeah, man.
Oh god.
He does that same like acting look, you know, whenever like he turns around, he's like that, like gormless, like looking into space. Like it's every single scene, man.
He can't.
Well, the really fascinating thing about Nicolas Cage that I think is really interesting is how he can be like on a, you know, blockbuster fucking A-grade Hollywood action movie, and then he'll be on like a fucking D-grade movie, and he's just pumping them out, man. He just, you know, you'll see him on the weirdest movies, and then he'll be on some big blockbuster. He's one of the few guys that can bounce around like that. Yeah. And apparently he's got like real expensive tastes. Like he's
he had a fucking
he's got like castles all around,
shit.
mansions, and he's like all these different girlfriends, and he's just like he's got lots of bills to pay, so he has to just keep acting. You know, he's just like just taking the jobs, man.
I'll do whatever. Just give it me. I won't even read it. Just
I don't know. He got a new thing on Netflix, The History of Swear Words. I don't know if you guys.
Is that any good? Is it good?
I watched a bit of that.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it's funny. I watched the one for fucking shit.
Yeah.
The history of those words.
Me and my roommate got on a kick where like literally for probably like 6 months when he was living here, we just couldn't stop talking like Nick Cage to each other. It's like every time it was just like, can you pass me my soda?
That's amazing, man.
Just like literally anything we would say, it was just like Nick Cage style. But anyway, it was just weird. We get a weird little inside joke shit like that.
Con Air was a good one. I love Con Air.
Oh yeah, Con Air. I never saw it, but that was another one my dad tried to put on me when I was a kid.
You should watch that shit, dog. You'd love it.
I'll put it on the list with Commando.
There's another one. It's called like it's like War Dogs, Warlords. It's like one where they're like selling guns. He's like weapons arm dealer. It's so good, man.
Lord of War, is it?
Yeah, I think
Lord of War.
Yeah.
I think it's Lord of War.
He's like an arms dealer. Yeah. Man, I love that one.
Yeah, Con Air's going off in the chat. I guess I do got to see that one.
Dog. Fucking, you can't be like, look, I'm telling you, if you're like a proper American guy and you like Nick Cage, you got to watch Con Air.
Yeah, man.
Jeez, man.
What about Deer Hunter, man? Those classics.
Yes. That's
Deer Hunter. Huh.
Yeah,
I got to brush up on my Nick Cage.
Deer Hunter's good. There's a few, man. He's in a lot of movies. Like,
he's not in Deer Hunter, but like I was just
okay.
saying, yeah.
Oh,
I don't want to mislead you. Deer Hunter is a fantastic film.
How about Ghost Rider?
Ghost Rider.
All right. So, just reading the comments. There's a
what people saying, man?
Asking things, saying all kinds of things. One guy, Joe Thompson, is saying, Rez, you're an absolute legend. How do you make those nasty Reese's?
Yes, man. I wanted to ask you the exact same thing.
Who said this?
I'm looking on the Facebook chats. Joe Thompson. Yeah.
Yo.
We got double chat room. I usually only look at the Twitch chat, but I just opened up the Facebook one. I seen there's a few questions there.
I finally got a laptop, so I got the Twitch one open. But yeah, the Reese's are like super simple, and the way I do it at least, it's like always starts as either a square or a saw wave, and then throw another square or saw wave and detune them a little bit, like maybe 0.2 semitones or whatever, something like that. Sometimes I'll go really crazy with it, like 0.8 or something, but it just depends on the note and like what you're trying to do. But from there, just like run it into a combination, like a rinse and repeat of like EQs, subtractive EQs mostly, but a lot of also additive EQs. But like it's a mixture of like EQs, filters, compressors, distortions, and then just like rinse and repeat. And just honestly, I get like a save point after a certain, like I'll do a couple of maybe an EQ, filter, distortion, another EQ, just like keep throwing them on, and then when it gets to a point where I want to like hit a save point sort of and like resample it, I'll grab the audio of what I have so far, throw it into the project, and then now that's my starting point, and I'll rinse and repeat, just do the same thing.
Nice.
You can get real twisted with it, and then when you have it in audio, it also makes it a lot easier to like reverse it, and that can give you some things that you never even would have thought to try to like create. It just like comes back into super.
I think once you've like consolidated that audio, you can like, you know, pitching that audio up and down is like sounds a lot different than just like, you know, through the instrument originally, you know, like, so totally. Yeah, like you say, like, man, I pretty much do the exact same thing with that, like adding the effects and then resampling and then starting again.
Yeah. Oh, and a big one I like, so I like certain effects I really like to very subtly kind of throw into the chain at a certain point. Like I love a flanger on sort of a slow kind of divey sound, and like I'll use a lot of flanger, not a lot of phaser or chorus really. I'll use a chorus to widen it sometimes if it's like, but yeah, I mean, not a lot of like effects really. I keep it pretty dry. But yeah, it's just a lot of EQ and filters. For the filters, I'll do a lot of notch, I'll do a lot of low pass, but once you low pass it, you kind of can't get those highs back. And for a lot of the sizzly kind of crunchiness of those basses, I don't like to. I hear a lot of people when they make deep dubstep, they'll just cut off all the highs and just. But it's nice to have that sizzle and that crunch of the top end. So a lot of times I'll just use a notch and go like. Anyway, there's just a lot of notch and a lot of band pass maybe for just get some talkiness out of it, but like that's pretty simple though. A lot of people are like, dude, you must be using Serum for that, because that's just, I'm like, no, it's very, very basic. You can make them pretty much on like my first synth, you know, like it doesn't need to be anything.
Well, it's often the simple applications, you know, the way of doing it simply that can actually be the most effective sometimes, you know.
It's tried and true, man. All the way from the drum and bass days.
Even just using like a sine, man, or an 808 or something like that, you can get some mad fucking sounds just adding like saturation and distortion. And
exactly. And if you like keep bouncing out like, you know, different layers, you know, do a real distorted crunchy one, just bounce out, high pass it, then, you know, add the low layer underneath, and you got that nice crispy layer.
That's a good little thing right there. Is like a lot of times I'll take like the simple just sort of movement. Like if I know I want a movement I don't ever really sit there and just fuck with knobs until something sounds good. Usually I'm going for a certain movement. So I'll try to mimic that movement that I'm going for, like, or a syncopation or whatever. And I'll try to mimic it, usually starting off with a low pass filter or some sort of notch or something. And I'll get that basic movement. And then from there, I'll take the audio clip and I'll split it into two of the same audio clips, and I'll put one on a mixer where I just completely low pass everything to where it's like only the bass, the sub. And then with the other one is where I'll actually like try to get the sound design going. So that way you keep your clean like sub, like low end of the initial sound. And then you kind of use the other one. That one just kind of sits there forever. It's just your low end of it that's untouched. And then the other one is like the one where you really start getting that mid-range sort of characteristic to it. But I don't know if that helps.
That makes that fully. I'm sure a lot of people appreciate that little tip there. How about you, bro? Taiko, what do you like? What are your favorite kind of? Do you use like any hardware, or do you use mainly like samples or VSTs? Like, how do you like to operate?
Yeah, it's kind of a bit of a mixture, man. I guess it depends. Like, so what Rez was saying, like if you're feeling like making a certain type of tune, like I'm feeling like making more of a acoustic-y, you know, live melodic-y sounding tune, like I might not really focus on the sort of, you know, mid-ranges that much. So sometimes it's nice to have a break with those sort of tunes, you know, you don't really have to think about basses. But if I am making like mid-range noises, it's like pretty much the same as Rez, man, like starting with a sine, or like a sine and a square, or a sine and a saw, or like two saws or two squares, or like it's usually that, like one of those combinations or any of those. And then just adding different layers, like sometimes doing like like multi-band distortion, I guess, you know, and like multi-band processing where you get the 3 layers and strip it down. Like, yeah, Rez, he's literally said like everything that I do. Like it was really funny listening to it. Like, but it's mad how like you get different sounds out. You know, like Rez gets those Rez basses out of it, and like, you know, I might get something. You know,
the thing that took my shit to the level like where I was more happy with it was the day that I kind of started integrating saturations and distortions.
Yeah.
That was when because I was trying for years and years to figure out how to make those sort of like slithery, just like sort of those free-formy like neuro basses. And I just like it was just all beating my head against the wall and pulling my hair out for years. And then like just from fucking with it, I just found that when you throw in those distortions, especially when you have, so I was talking to Cohen Sound one time, big name drop, sorry, but I was like, I got the opportunity to talk to him at the backstage at this one like festival, and I didn't want to bombard him, but I did get to ask him like kind of a very basic, like, give me sort of like a rundown of like, what the hell are you, if you're just going to start making one of those insanely just free-formy things, like what's your general like thing? And they were saying like an EQ, a subtractive EQ, like right before a heavy saturation or distortion, and shifting that around and finding spots where it really reacts with the distortion. What you feed into the distortion is kind of like, that took my designs to definitely a level where I was way more like happy. So right before you distort, throw an EQ and just try, you know, running into that distortion, try right before it, just trying some different like subtractive EQs and seeing how it reacts with the distortion. I
was gonna say, sometimes like getting like a soft like notch filter going, or like finding those sweet spots where it like creates that really like
and
sort of resonant movement, and you can like automate that throughout like the, you know, the bar or 4 bars, and so it creates that natural like movement in the wave. And like once you resample it and distort it again, like that comes out as its own like you know, kind of new harmonics and stuff. So
for sure,
but I guess you've got to be like careful, you know, don't just chuck like 5 distortion units on something and think it's going to sound good. Like you've got, I guess you've got to take it slow, I guess.
But the trial and error, like I was used to just take a bunch of knobs and like literally I would go into a fresh project, I would automate like every single thing, and then I would have like 30 automation clips, and I would just like do random things and just try to, but it never really like, there was tiny little shining bits that I could grab that was like, you know, half a second long out of a whole thing. So I didn't really feel like that was worth it. I kind of, it was just trial and error, you know, but. And even like that random design.
Like some live samples, you can get some interesting stuff like cellos and like really low like orchestral instruments. If you like resample those and distort them, you can get those similar like growly.
I heard you doing that in a song. I was checking out your sound.
I do it sometimes.
I heard it in I believe it was, I can't remember the song. I think it was Raid, but I can't remember if that was the one.
Oh yeah. That's like an entire like Contact orchestral thing. I just wanted to make a full like, okay, this is like just trumpets and strings and like just a full orchestra.
Well, that's what I like about your sound, bro. You've got that kind of like live, like the strings and the trumpets, and it's almost like it's like from an era like that No More tune. It's one of my favorite tunes, man. Like you know, like that's such a dope tune. It's just got like, it's got that soul to it, you know, like because you use all those kind of instruments. And
are you a musician, man?
I play the drums, so like not like, I don't really count myself as, do you know what I mean? Like, because I'm just like,
but that's well, it's an instrument, I guess, but But
I used to, you know, like I learned a bit of like theory a bit ago. Like I had like a sort of like, not really a proper theory tutor, but it was like a friend of like my mum who just like was happy to just come around and show me some stuff, and like, but it did really help, you know, when they show you like chords and like harmonics and different things, and like there's to be fair, there's a really good plugin actually called Scalar that if anyone like has trouble like building melodies or just starting off with chord progressions, like that's a really good one. You can basically like go through like every scale you can think of, and like pretty much choose and go through and choose like what mood you want it, like sad or jazzy or and then it'll just give you a standard like piano MIDI and give you all the different chord progressions and like
all the available notes.
Drag that MIDI in and play with the notes and change it and arpeggiate it, and
How long
so
you
that's a
played
good
drums
one
for?
like, for people that just need that, like since I was like 12, man.
Oh, cool.
I guess like 16 years, but like I haven't played them much like super recently, but traditionally I just used to play like metal essentially.
Yeah, me too. Well, like punk.
Just like super heavy metal, like Slipknot and Lamb of God and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, that'll make you good quick. That kind of music. Like,
it's funny that because I think a lot of our kind of like DDD fan base like actually love like heavy metal or like have backgrounds in metal. Like there was someone on the squad page the other day saying, "Hey, who's into metal?" And a lot of people were like, I think Sepia was wearing a t-shirt from some metal band.
Whitechapel, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, Whitechapel or something. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I guess nowadays I'm way more into like the sort of like genty like math rock people like Meshuggah. Like hopefully I've got tickets to see them hopefully in December. So hopefully if all this shit's cleared up.
Right.
At like Animals as leaders and like I like bands like Periphery, but I'm not really big on the vocals, like I love the music, but
I feel you.
I don't know, I just like that like aggressive screaming, man.
Interesting.
It's just good sometimes, like cleanses the soul,
Totally.
Some pretty epic kind of like drums and like guitar and bass like patterns like in metal too, man.
Yeah,
like,
the patterns
are crazy, like
just
wild shit, man.
Crazy syncopated, some of it. My favorite band of all time is Deftones, so like I get with metal. But,
they're good.
They're kind of different, I guess. Not as like not as genty or whatever, just like super technical, but like I like the simplicity of it.
I love how he manages to like scream and like whisper at the same time, like kind of vocal.
He's got my favorite voice of all time.
Super like strained, like
he has such a crazy range and actually a really good tenor singing voice, honestly. Like he doesn't hit notes very well like live, but just such a cool, interesting voice, man. And I love how they drown his vocals in effects a lot of times, and it just sort of makes it this super interesting, like ethereal sound. I not a lot of singers do that, and I wish more singers would just kind of treat their voice like a strange instrument and like drown in just cool effects and shit.
It's funny because in the 90s when not in the 90s but like the early 2000s, I had this fucking like gimp goatee thing and like spiky hair, and people used to say I looked like that Chino Marino guy. Like,
I can see it.
I was always like, really? But, okay.
Yeah.
But that's funny. I was into like around that time I was more into like Tool. Like I like the that Enema album and all that. I saw them live. Keating and all that came and sung. He was all painted blue and fucking just wearing his just like basically like naked painted blue. Fucking like trippy as fuck. Like all the crazy syncopation, like
man.
And all the like I don't know. I like that kind of I don't know what I like with when it comes to rock, because at the same time I was like really getting like when I was like 13 or 14 and I was really getting into Tool and like that kind of like I even like Korn.
Korn was sick at first.
At the same time though, I got real into drum and bass and jungle, and that kind of just overtook everything. So like like that was my like I had like a short taste of that, and then it was like drum and bass, and nothing else until like dubstep came.
I'm huge into punk. That's my main squeeze. Like Deftones is my all-time favorite band, but as far as like probably my tried and true like all-time favorite genre, definitely like punk. But more like 90s sort of like wave punk, not so much like the 70s stuff and 80s stuff. Kind of more into wind punk. Really got like a facelift of like just modern production sound with like the way they integrated like compression and stuff like that. Certain of the mixes on some of the punk albums in the mid 90s when they started getting just super clean and super punchy, like those bands, that time period is just still like my all-time favorite stuff. I'm definitely like just a huge punk guy. Yeah, no, someone said No FX here. I'm like mad into them. Not so much
Nice.
Sum 41. Not so much. Like, there's a really fine line, I think, with metal and punk, where like, I don't know, I'm just so particular and so picky. I ride this like very fine line, like where
Me too,
like,
man.
metal can be super gimmicky and just super like, I want to be heavy just because I want to be heavy, and then there's stuff where it's like actually artistic. And like, I don't know, there's like
it's like dubstep, man.
Yeah, straight up.
There's a lot of tacky dubstep out there, a lot of cheap stuff, you know, and then there's a lot of really great artistic stuff.
Yeah, totally. Tacky's a good word. Yeah.
It's the most bastardized, I think, like, you know, because like metal is a very broad term for like a lot of different kind of subgenres of rock, just like dubstep is. Like, they're both such bastardized terms, you know, and like
totally.
It's funny, man. I don't even know what to call it, because like honestly, like if I like you guys like make like stuff that like I don't even know like what I'd call it. Like, you know, for example, like your stuff, Taiko, like that No More track, you could play that to someone that's kind of like into like the jazz and blues that might be really into it, or like, you know, hip hop or something. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really. It's just it's the like.
I guess I've tried like. I guess it's something I've tried to do generally. Like, not that I don't like the sort of that original swampy, dark dubstep sound. Like, I still do like making those kind of beats, but like, I don't know. I guess just the more you know, after you've done that, like for 5, 6, 7 years or whatever, making those same swampy beats, it just gets, you know,
stuck on it.
It's like a nice change to just switch to do a few melodic things, just, you know. Make some experimental shit, like just see where you sort of go, and then you can sort of gauge, you know, with all these angles you've tried, and then like, I don't know. Yeah, now I feel a bit more secure about what I'm wanting to do, and not feeling like, boxed in, and like not like it's a chore or anything. It's like, okay, let's just see what happens, and you know.
Yeah, that's a nice stage to be in as a producer and as an artist, like where you can just kind of be experimenting and you feel comfortable and you just want to try some different things. And
I get it out of my system all the time, man. I got hundreds and hundreds of projects in my FL folder that are just like, I mean, I play guitar and done music. I've recorded bands and stuff my whole life, and like I'm just I have so many outlets where I can kind of get that out of my system that when I'm doing Rez stuff, I just kind of like know what I'm after, and it is kind of just it is sort of a one-trick pony of sorts, like that I choose to kind of like, it's just that's the outlet for that, and I have like other outlets for a bunch of other shit. And, like,
well, hey, look, there's nothing wrong with being like, you know, very specific and being very good at one like niche kind of sound. Like, you know, like that's what I like about your music. To me, when I listen to Rez music, and I don't mean this in any offensive way, and people probably think this is weird me saying this, but I hear drum and bass at half the time.
Oh, that's awesome.
And when I say that, I mean I like some of my favorite like 90s like neuro tech drum and bass. The vibes that gave me, even though it's like at 174 BPM or whatever. When I hear your 140 stuff, it ignites that same little bit in my brain. So I'm like, for me, I don't care if you call it dubstep, whatever. To me, it's the same vibe as like a lot of that 90s neuro drum and bass kind of stuff.
I know exactly what you mean. Like the first time I heard that Daze tune, man, like I got excited. You know, I was like, oh shit, like that is sick. Like,
thanks, bro.
It's a time era that you've captured and you put into your kind of sound, like, and it doesn't necessarily. That's what I'm saying. Like, you could play that to some of those like neuro drum and bass guys that are like, I don't like dubstep. Fuck that shit. You play them a Rez tune, they'll probably be like, what's this? This is cool. Yeah. It's like slow down DnB, you know?
Yeah, so like, I love all that old kind of like, you know, I hate to just use like the big names, like, but like, I was like listening to a lot of like Amon Tobin, like the old 90s stuff, or like Crystal Method and shit like that. Like, I love that old sort of like analog, like the chopped break beats and stuff like that and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know a lot about it. I might be like sort of like appropriating it because like I don't listen to a lot of it, but I know that I like love the shit out of it, like what I do here. But
let me tell you something. All music is appropriated. Unless you fucking invented the guitar or the fucking piano, everything's been.
Yeah, you're right.
We all take things and we emulate it. We build culture. We're humans. That's how we do it. I'm not saying go copy other people's work.
Yeah.
Music always is evolving and it's emulating culture and sound, and you know, it all goes back to like the fucking tribal drum in Africa.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
totally.
So like,
Well, speaking of that Adidas tune, speaking of Korn, that's actually how, like, the name of that is because I was listening to the demos for the Life is Peachy album. It had Adidas on it, the song Adidas by them, and I was listening to the demos, and the demos were recorded roughly, but something about the way he's tuned his snare, I think he tuned it fucking like to where the head was about to pop. It was just so tight. It was and so I grabbed a little snippet of it and used that, and I just started making a song out of it. And then when I needed a name for the song, when I was hitting save, I was like, well, fuck it, I'll call it where it came from, which is Adidas. So that actually
there you go. So it's not because you dream about sex all day.
No, and then I made it all day. I dream about snares. That was gonna be my little
love
so that it's not exactly a rip-off. Yeah.
Well, the funny thing about all that is, like, someone like Korn like tried to claim a few years ago that they, like, I don't know if they said they invented dubstep, but they like, we made one of the
I saw that.
tunes.
J Devil was trying to do his thing, and
yeah, that's pretty funny. That's like really funny.
It's crazy that like Jonathan Davis from Korn had like a collaborative album with like Datsick and Skrillex, I think, and like a couple other like.
That's crazy, but also like not that crazy.
It's just,
really think about it.
Yeah. I think their argument, like at first, was like, oh well, we used to make like dark tunes at 140 BPM, so like, what's the difference, you know? It's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I love.
Well, it's just funny because like you can just like take any like kind of like say if you take like any like 4/4 140 kind of like tune that's just like you know, like basically just got a kick and a kick hat snare kind of pattern. It doesn't even need that pattern, you can call it dubstep, but then you can apply like so you get like the kick hat snare,
right?
Okay, get that 140 BPM. You can lay a fucking hip hop melody under that. You can lay a fucking heavy metal fucking guitar riff. You can lay a funk tune. You can lay techno over it, and it's all called dubstep.
Right, that is weird, man.
It's almost one of the things I love about it too, though, because like there's like a tune that I made, that honey tune, and like that's like basically just a funk tune, but you know, it's like dubstep as well. So like I did like the mostly like Contact, and then a few of the bass like things as like there's like some of the sort of solo-y stuff like samples, but then the most of it's like is like MIDI and stuff. But I wish I could play guitar, and I wish I could say that I played them all, but
I think that's the beauty of the genre, you know, it can kind of like incorporate all those different sounds, and you know, you can play guitar or whatever in it and like you know, drop it in the set and it all works. That's what's cool about just electronic music in general, you know, it's like all hybrid, all fucking crosses over. I think
it does really lend itself to other genres, you know, like grime, like hip hop, jazz, funk, like
totally.
You know, there's and soul and whatever, like, you know, you can take a lot of influences and you know.
Well, the 140 tempo and the beat, like you just, you know, like a good MC, it just they naturally just start flowing over it, man. And you know, there's a lot of fun shit you can do with it. Like it's a really fun kind of tempo. It's a fun genre. There's extremely like annoying stuff and extremely like great stuff, just like any kind of sound. But
no doubt.
Yeah, but you guys have both got very unique sounds. That's what I'm saying. Like, you both are dubstep artists, but like, you know, if like I had to go to like my fucking like Uncle Joe and like sit down in front of the fire and be like, he's like, give me an example of dubstep, Andre. I would like to know about this music. I could have like a Taiko record and a Rez record, and I might play on the Rez one. He'll be like, wow, this sounds like fucking, you know, space, alien, spaceship stuff, or like playing the Taiko one, you might be like, wow, this sounds like kind of bluesy and jazzy, but it's like this big bass line. You know, I don't know what he'd fucking say, but it could be two very different like examples of one name. You know, it's fucking crazy.
Which is, you know, that's cool, I guess, that it's so like versatile of a name, but
You know, like whereas house music or techno, like, you know, there are lots of different types of house. You know, there's loads of different types, but like, you know, generally it's that just like that 4/4 beat, you know, like, and it's like house. You know, you're like, yeah, this is house. You know, techno is a bit more kind of diverse. Like a techno could be fucking anything.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, we're getting into genres now. It's dangerous territory. I don't like talking about
genres. Man, I don't want to like...
And naturally kind of like went into that kind of...
We're just going to pigeonhole this entire community and just be like, yeah, it's all just fucking...
Exactly. No, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day what you call it, mate, as long as you like it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Man, I heard some, like, well, I watched a Bicep stream recently, and I'd always heard of them, and like... It's one that, like, they're kind of one of those acts that's like, everyone's like, oh, they're really good, I think you'd like them, and I'd literally never heard their music, and yeah, after that, I was fucking sold, man. And I think the thing I liked about that stuff is, like, it's not very, like, four to the floor, you know? It's very techno-y in the melodies and the bass lines, but they have, like, sort of an almost garagey kick feel.
Nice.
So it's, like, it's just got, man, nice. Just, like, it's just awesome. Yeah, I was very, very impressed. Yeah, so...
That's cool. What are they called?
Bicep, man.
Bicep,
yeah.
Cool.
There's a tune they do it's just called X. And yeah, there's this like little arpeggio like melody that comes in like 30 seconds in. It's fucking beautiful, man. It's great.
Nice.
Yeah, man. So yeah.
Well, I just seen the time. We've been talking for fucking over 2 hours.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So that's we probably should wrap it up.
Yeah, I got it.
But any last words from you guys? Like, if you guys like got any like upcoming like releases you want to talk about, or any shout outs or anything, any information you want to disperse to the masses?
I guess just shout out to everyone listening, and I've got a few things coming out. I'm not like allowed to say what label it is, but
top secret stuff.
Top secret as always, man. Yeah, you know how it is. But there's always a few things. Maybe some stuff on a beach in summer, but we'll see. You know, depending on COVID and all that. So
you send us tunes, man, and honestly, like I feel like you'll send us some tunes, and I'll be like, oh my god, these are fucking sick. And by the time we like hit you up and be like, hey, we want to sign this, you're like, oh, it's signed already. Sorry.
It's a weird one.
It's hard to fucking catch you, man. You're in high demand.
Thanks, right. But thanks for having me on, man. It's been good. Yeah, good to chat to you as well.
Oh yeah, man.
Chat. Yeah. Well, it's cool to meet you, Louis.
You too.
I'll get you on Facebook and all that.
100%.
Yeah, I was just gonna say thanks everyone. You know, who ever listens or supports and all that, man, and for hearing the ramblings of myself, of the ramblings of a bad man. But,
very bad man.
Yeah, thanks, Dre, and looking forward to more stuff with the DDD fam, dude.
Yep. We've got some good releases that we're talking about coming out, which we can't. Another secret we can't really talk about, but Yeah, but no, just like it made me, man. Yeah, it's just like doing this show coming up like in a week, I guess, or not even. You know, it's kind of exciting, but like. Yeah, I guess the quarantine and all that, it's like, it just makes things like way more appreciated. And like, I just, it's just so wild that like we make stuff for fun and people fucking give a shit about it, you know? It's cool, you know? Yeah, isn't that great?
Thanks. It is. It really is, man.
Yeah. DDD is a great platform for that and everything. And like, I really appreciate it, man. It's good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you guys, and thanks to both of you for coming on the show. I know it's different time zones and everything. It was very last minute, me just hitting you up and being like, hey, come on the show. Because these aren't planned. These aren't scripted, and they're live. There's no recording or anything. So, it's great. Thanks for coming on and chatting shit. And hopefully we didn't offend too many people or insult too many people.
That was my biggest worry today. I was like, what are we gonna get into, man?
Everything we say is just, it's up in the air. It's discussion, nothing. No holds barred. We just talk whatever and
honesty, man. Yeah. For sure.
at the end of the day, like we value all the different opinions. So
Yeah.
thanks to everyone for tuning in.
Yeah.
It's been it's been a lively chat room.
Yeah.
And, yeah, everyone stay safe until next time.
Sweet.
All right, cheers, fellas.
Cheers, man.
Take
I
care.
I got a
That's
haircut
fine.
in like a half hour. I'm cutting it kind of close. I didn't even notice the time either.
All right, bro. Enjoy.
Nice.
Peace
Sweet,
out.
yeah.
Man,
Cheers,
good chat.
guys.
All right,
Nice
take care.
one. See you in a bit.